I said just now, today I'm going to introduce you with this course. Okay, when we talk about laboratory quality management, the first thing that we need to know is what is quality. When we talk about quality, okay, the quality is about more than describing a product or service as good. Okay, kalau kita cerita pasal quality, okay, contoh kita pegang telefon. Okay, so sekarang ni kalau boleh dikatakan semua orang majority akan guna iPhone kan. So when we talk about quality, kita tak boleh cakap yang bila kita pegang iPhone kita cakap okay, iPhone ni bagus. So bila kita cakap dia bagus, tak semestinya dia berkualiti. Okay, macam mana kita nak evaluate the quality of this iPhone or any handphones lah. Okay, I focus on iPhone sebab semua orang kenal dan guna iPhone. Semua orang kenal dan setengah daripada kita menggunakan iPhone. So bukan semata-mata kita cakap, okay, telefon ni bagus. It's not, quality is not only that. Okay, it is much more bigger and so many things that we need to look at and evaluate so that we can say that the product or the services has a quality. Okay, so quality is not only on product, but service pun ada dalam boleh dikategorikan sebagai berkualiti. Okay, please remember it is on product and also on services. Okay, so this quality management covers both product and services, and it is not only saying that the product or service is good, then it is already achieved the quality. But there are so many things that we need to consider, and those things are going to be covered in this course, right? And then quality is both a perspective. Okay, we say that it is good, so that is perspective, and also an approach to increase customer satisfaction, reduce the cycle time and cost, and eliminate errors and rework. That is quality. Okay, so just now we say that it is good. Okay, so are you satisfied as a customer? Are you satisfied? Okay, is there anything that you are not satisfied with the product? If there is yes, there is either it is very high dissatisfaction, or only you satisfied with the product, 90% of it is satisfied, and only 10% you are not satisfied with the product. So the company try to increase your satisfaction, then that is also under the quality. Okay, and then reduce cycle time and cost. Okay, so if we are talking about product, okay, so it can reduce time and cost to produce that product. It is also one of the quality management requirement. Okay, and if we talk about service, okay, contoh front desk kan, biasa kita pergi hotel ke, kita pergi mana-mana company akan ada front desk. Okay, contoh saya bagi contoh senang, mudah, kita pergi check in hotel. Okay, there is a front desk. Okay, so when we talk about reducing cycle time, okay, ataupun reduce time, okay, berapa cepat front desk to entertain customer, and then bagaimana what about the customer satisfaction? Hotel ni they apply the quality management system. If the customer or you yourself as a customer satisfied with their services and the entertainment time, okay, the time for this front desk to entertain the customer being reduced, okay, that one is they are trying to fulfill the requirement of quality management. Okay, and then eliminating errors and rework. Okay, eliminate error. Of course, when we talk about production, Okay, when we talk about company that produce product, they have production, and of course there will be errors. Okay, ada yang terpaksa buat balik, rework, okay, buat balik sebab ada contamination ke ataupun ada kerosakan ke, so they have to do it again, so that one we call it as rework. Takkan ada benda yang perfect. Okay, of course there will be no something like very perfect. There will be error. There will be there will be rework that need to be do. Okay, but if they are trying to eliminate those errors and rework, then okay, if they are trying to eliminate the errors and rework, it's actually they are trying to fulfill the quality management system. Okay, the quality management system, the ISO 9001 or 17025, they are not trying to get a perfect work, okay, a perfect 0% error, but they are trying to reduce. Okay, this quality management, okay, they are trying to reduce errors made by the company, the lab, the person in charge. Okay, reducing the error and reducing the rework is the requirement of the ISO. Okay, kita tak adalah cakap, okay, bila kita ada ISO, there is no error, 0% error. No, we are reducing the error. Okay, so sebenarnya quality management system ni ada setengah company rasa susah. Okay, kalau saya try to get certification, try to be certified by ISO, meaning that there are many work to do, there are so many money to be allocate, and they are going to make it very perfect and without error. Kita takkan capai. Sebenarnya perspektif tu salah. Okay, sebenarnya bila any company, laboratory that trying to fulfill the quality management system required by the ISO, sebenarnya dia cuba untuk improve. Okay, they are trying to improve their system. Okay, once you improve your system and you maintain, that is quality management. Sebenarnya ia lagi memudahkan daripada you buat error yang sama tanpa improvement, sebab tak ada orang, you are not certified with ISO, then there is no requirement for improvement. You buatlah error yang sama hari-hari. Lepas tu adalah produk yang rosak. Lepas tu rosak buang je sebab tak ada improvement. Itulah, kalau you certified with ISO 9001, the requirement is to improve your system. If there is any error, okay, you make a corrective action, you improve your system, then you maintain, boleh reduce the cost and time. Okay, and they need to understand that quality management system or ISO requirement is not to to give them pressure or trouble. It is to help them improve their system. Okay. Sebenarnya quality management ni kita tak perlu pergi jauh pun, kita tak perlu pergi sampai industri, kita tak perlu pergi sampai lab untuk kita faham. Our own routine is also have a connection or relationship with quality management. Okay, let me give you example. Okay, this morning, you wake up and what is your routine? Okay, sarapan dulu ke, mandi dulu ke, and then after that you have your own schedule. You have schedule? If yes, that is one of the quality management. Those who wake up and don't know what to do, there is no schedule. Kadang okay, bangun main game dulu. Okay, lepas tu kalau tak ada jadual, main game sampai sepatutnya, okay, nak main sekejap lah, setengah jam. Tak ada jadual, tiba-tiba, dah sejam. So, if you want to improve your daily routine, so you buat jadual, you buat alarm. Dah habis setengah jam main game, so sekarang kita start dengan ulang kaji. So that is one of the improvement, and that is already fulfill the quality management system. Okay, you have schedule, you have alarm to remind you. Okay, so bila you improve, that is already fulfill the quality management. Tak perlu pergi jauh pun, you apply dulu dalam diri you, your daily routine, and then you can imagine how a big company, a laboratory under chemical industries apply those quality management system or ISO 9001 or ISO 17025 standard requirements, right? And then just now I said that we are going to look at on two ISO standards. Okay, there are so many standards. Ada environmental standard, ada safety standards, but in this course we are going to look at only two ISO standard. Okay, so ISO stand for International Organization for Standardization. Sorry. Okay, so it defines quality as the degree to which a set of inherent characteristics fulfill a requirement. Okay, ini definition by buku teks lah. Okay, quality, the degree to which a set of inherent characteristics fulfill a requirement. Tapi dalam bahasa mudahnya seperti yang saya cakap tadi lah. Okay, quality adalah macam mana sesebuah company atau sesebuah laboratory try to improve their system and then to fulfill the requirement made by the ISO. Okay, so requirement here bermaksud a need or expectation that is stated, generally implied or obligatory. Okay, biasanya sebuah company dia nak keluarkan produk, dia akan dapatkan dulu customer satisfaction. Okay, customer ni suka contohnya food company nak keluarkan satu produk, contoh biskut. Okay, so they are going to make a survey. Apa customer expectation? Okay, nak biskut yang ada kacang. Kalau ada kacang, kacang apa? There are lots of types of nuts. Okay, so what kind of nuts that they are going to use? Okay, and then in that survey, okay, based on the survey, they can get the customer expectation. Okay, and then dia akan keluarkanlah produk tu. So that one, the requirement, okay, or the needs or expectation by the customer is one of the requirement. Okay, tapi bukanlah bergantung pada customer requirement saja. There are so many requirement or external parties that involved. Nanti kita akan tengok. Okay. So as I said, we have two ISO standards, okay, related to this laboratory quality management part. Okay, so ISO 9001, it is a general quality management system requirements. So semua department, okay, contoh kalau company ada financial department, ada quality control department, ada human resource department, okay, ada lab, ada production, ada engineering, ada safety. Okay, those departments all of them can apply quality management system ISO 9001. Okay, this ISO 9001 can be used by all the departments, but ISO 17025 is specifically for testing and calibration lab only. Okay, so please remember that ISO 9001 can be used by all departments, but ISO 17025 only for testing and calibration lab. Okay. So these are the references that you can go through if you have you can try to find them in the laboratories, okay, and you can go through these references for additional information, okay, and that is for the introduction part of laboratory quality management. So that just now we are talking about general introduction on LQM. So I'm going to go a little bit, okay, of chapter 1. So chapter 1, we are going to look at the laboratory quality management system, and there are a few subtopics. Okay, the first subtopic is overview of LQMS, laboratory quality management system. Okay, we already talked about what is quality just now. So that one is only a general one. And now we are going to focus on quality management system. So what is quality management system? Okay. When you want to develop your own product, okay, you nak keluarkan satu produk baru, any business, any company that want to come up with a new product, they are going to implement the quality management system. Okay, once they have a very good quality management system, their product will be a successful product because they already fulfill the customer requirement, they already fulfill the external third parties requirements, the government requirements, and all those requirements needed, they already fulfill, and they can say that they already have a success product, and it will boom their business. Okay, so when we talk about quality, when we already achieve a 99% level of quality, does it mean we already have a good quality product? 99% means that you are accepting a 1% error rate. Okay, tadi kita cakap, okay, bila kita ada quality product, doesn't mean that it is a perfect product. Bukan kata tak ada error langsung. Tapi bila kita cuba untuk when we already try to reduce the error, we already achieve 99% level of quality, still ada 1% error. Is it acceptable? Okay. You guys, sebelum kita pergi ke next slide, cuba fikirkan. Kalau dah capai 99%, tu dah cukup bagus lah, dah A+ dah. Okay, tapi kalau 99% level of quality, still ada 1% error rate. Is it acceptable? Okay, ya, kita tahu tak semua benda perfect, dah try to improve and already achieve the quality management system requirements. Berapa persen error yang kita perlu reduce lagi, ataupun is it 90% is already good or 99% kita perlu capai 99% baru kita boleh cakap yang produk kita berkualiti? Okay, let's look at this example. This is the result of 1% failure or 1% error. Okay, in terms of airlines company, if you are accepting, if you have 1% error, it means that 3 bad landings at Orly Paris airport per day. Itu result of 1% error. For airlines company, guys, okay, please bear in mind this one, the example is on airlines company. Kalau you accept 1% error, it means that there is 3 bad landings per day. Okay, but as I said, this one is for airlines company. Ia akan berbeza mengikut the final product. Okay, some product 89% dah cukup bagus. 90% is almost perfect. Okay, for them. Okay, mungkin error tu kalau ada failure pun tak menjejaskan the production, the process. Okay, kalau contoh you beli susu tin ataupun air tin lah. Okay, ada scratch. Scratch tu dekat dia punya gambar, which is not, scratch tu sikit je. Okay, maybe that one is 1% failure. But then, dia tak menjejaskan produk dalam. Okay, itu mungkin boleh dijual lah. Walaupun ada Kalau ada customer yang memang perlukan very perfect product, dia takkan belilah. Ada orang tak kisah pun. So actually the level of quality depends on the final product. For airlines tak boleh lah 1%. Okay. So depends on the company. So for this course, okay, for ISO, okay, 9001 2015, these are the terms, the important terms that you need to be familiar. Sebab nanti kalau pergi chapter lain, saya masih sebut lagi terms-terms ni. So masa tu nanti saya tak nak you guys, tak pernah dengar pun terms ni. Saya pernah dengar tapi tak ingat lah. So this one I already highlight the important terms, okay, and we are going to look at the meaning of each term after this. Okay, please be familiar with these 6 terms. Okay, for ISO 9001 from chapter 1 until 4, kebanyakan terms ni saya akan selalu sebut lah. Okay, so the first terms is high level structure, or in short HLS. We have second terms context of organization, leadership, risk-based thinking, process approach, and documented information. Okay, 6 terms. Okay, so the first term is HLS, high level structure. Okay. So this HLS, a new common format, has been developed for use in all management system with identical text headings. Okay, seperti yang saya cakap tadi, ISO 9001, the latest version is 2015. So this 2015, dia dah buat format yang mana sesuai dengan semua management system standard. Okay, seperti saya cakap, kita ada ISO 9001, 17025, but we also have other standards, ada environmental standard, safety standard, security standards. Okay, those standards, there are so many standards in the world. So this new common format, okay, kita dah develop dia untuk sesuai dengan semua management and system standards. Okay, so tak adalah dulu kalau you dah certified dengan 9001, you kena certified juga dengan 14000 environmental. You kena juga certified dengan safety. You kena juga certified dengan lab. Okay, semua tu kena be certified. Barulah you boleh cakap you ada good quality system. But now, okay, all of them are going to use common format, so that kalau you apply those format, those requirements, you comply dengan contoh dekat sebelah kanan you, okay, there are the common format which is 1 to 3, tu scope normative references tu bukan inilah, start dengan 4 until 10. Okay, they have context of organization, leadership yang mana company kena fulfill. Okay, those in the blue color is actually the common format. All of the standards have this similar format. So that kalau you fulfill requirements for context of organization untuk 9001 standard, actually you dah fulfill untuk standard lain juga. Okay, mudah. Kalau tak dulu, certified dengan ISO 9001, dah fulfill, kena buat untuk requirement untuk environmental, dah fulfill, kena buat requirement untuk safety pula. Okay, tedious lah. Tedious, you need a very long time to do the documentation semua, so very complicated. So now high level structure meaning that they have the same common format. You fulfill je leadership untuk 9001, sebenarnya you dah fulfill untuk requirement standards lain juga. So senang, jimat masa, jimat duit lah untuk kita fulfill the requirements. Okay, and those organization implementing multiple management system can achieve better integration and easier implementation, as I said just now lah. Okay, once you fulfill one of the requirements in ISO 9001, actually you already fulfill for other management system already. Okay, so easier implementation. So tak payah banyak-banyak documentation, tak perlu buat banyak kerja. Okay, so that is the best thing for high level structure. They have new common format. So this is a process model, ISO 9001-2015. What does it mean? Okay, if you have a company, so now you need to put yourself as a company owner. Sebelum ni saya cerita you guys as a customer. So now you need to put yourself as a company owner. So you have input. Okay, this input tak kisahlah raw materials ke. Kalau if we are talking about product, you are going to have a raw materials, and then you process raw material, you akan dapat output the final product. Okay, saya bagi contoh mudah. You owner untuk Starbucks lah. Okay, you owner untuk Starbucks. You have raw material. Okay, this raw material are going to go through a process and then you get a final product. In this example, coffee lah kan. Okay, coffee. Apa input yang you perlukan? It's not only raw material untuk buat kopi sahaja, but bear in mind you need a barista. You need coffee machine. Okay, you need a very good raw materials to produce a good coffee, right? So those input, mana you dapatkan raw material tu? Beli kat mana? Okay, adakah company yang supply raw materials tu certified dengan ISO? Okay, and then you have input, you have barista, you have coffee machine. This one will undergo the process, and then you will come up with a very good coffee, okay, untuk dijual. So that one is output. So how to achieve this input, process, output? To get a very good quality coffee, you need to fulfill all the requirements in the screen. Okay, we have organization and its context, customer requirements, needs and expectation of interested parties. So that one is input. So customer requirements, coffee macam mana customer nak. So that one is customer requirements. Fall under input. Need and expectation from interested parties. Interested parties ni contoh supplier. Apa requirement daripada supplier? Supplier coffee lah contoh. Supplier raw materials. Okay, apa expectation dia? Okay, you need to fulfill all those things juga. Bukan semata-mata buat kopi kat rumah macam tu je. Okay, that one, when you own a company, you need to fulfill all these requirements. And in the process, apa pula yang you kena fulfill? It's not only kacau kopi, okay, hias cantik-cantik, dah. No, they will, you need to fulfill the planning. You have a good planning. Okay, berapa jenis kopi yang you nak, that is planning. How many barista that you need, okay, to run your business. Okay, how many coffee machine that you need, that is under planning. Okay, and then support and operation. Support, one of them is your barista, coffee machine. Okay, operation, how the coffee machine operate. Okay, and then we have performance evaluation. You need to evaluate the performance of barista so that you can sustain your coffee company. Okay, Starbucks tadi. And after you do the evaluation, kat mana ada error, kat mana ada complaint from your customer, then you need to improve, make an improvement to your business. Okay, so this circle is actually plan, do, check and act. Okay, so we call it as PDCA circle. You need to plan everything, and when you have a good planning, do it. Okay, sama juga macam you bangun tidur, dah ada jadual, ikutlah, kena ikut, do, buat. Check whether the schedule is very good already to achieve your life goal. Okay, check, and then if there is anything to improve, add, buat. buat improvement. So this is PDCA cycles, and then each of the clause in ISO standard actually fulfill the PDCA cycle. We have planning, clause number 6, we have support clause 7, we have operation clause 8. Okay, that one is actually fulfilling the PDCA cycles. And then for output, bila dah siap, bila dah ada final product, you want to give it to your customer. Okay, so you get the customer satisfaction. And then look at the results of the quality management system. You dah implement tadi, adakah the quality management system yang you dah ada sekarang ni a very good one, you just need to maintain, or you need some improvement to do. Okay, and then the output is not only products, it's also cover the services. Okay. So mana nak dapat kelas-kelas ni, doktor? Ini baru introduction. Kelas ni nanti saya akan bagi you copy of standards, okay, in Kalam and also in Microsoft Team channel. Okay, so dalam standards tu dah ada detail lah each of the clause. Okay, tapi ayat dia, the sentences in that standard is very technical. Dia macam ayat lawyer. Okay, mungkin akan a bit confusing lah. That's why in these slides, okay, in my lecture notes, I already make it simple and easier to understand. So you cannot only rely on my slides. You need to also refer to the standards. Sebab dalam standards tu kadang dia ada banyak contoh. Okay. So the next terms is leadership. Okay, so as a leader, you need to put yourself as a leader. Okay, and sometimes you need to put yourself as the customer. You need to put yourself as the employee. Okay, so to understand this ISO standard requirements, you kena letakkan diri you. Okay, kalau leadership requirement, you kena letak diri you sebagai leader. And then sebagai leader, apa yang you kena fulfill? The employee needs, the customer needs. Okay, letak diri you dekat employee, sebagai employee. Employee nak gaji banyak, nak kerja senang. So semua tu kena fikir. That's why a leader need to have a strategic issues. Need to look at the strategic issues. And then a leader also need to look at the risk, high level risk. Okay, and then if you have any risk, you need to register those risks. Okay, and then you need to have a longer term business plans and expectation. Okay, and also how this quality management system be delivered. Okay, not only to your customer, also your employee. Kalau dulu ISO requirements, dia tak tekankan kepada leader tau. Dia lebih kepada implementation. Orang bawah yang implement. So leader ni duduk saja, bukanlah duduk saja, tapi tak banyak pun tanggungjawab diberikan kepada leader. But the new version 2015, dia memang tekankan leader yang kena gerak dulu supaya those quality management system be implemented. Okay, kalau tak dulu leader lepas tangan, bagi dekat anak buah buat, you kena implement those clause needed by the ISO. Saya tahu siap je. Tak, sekarang leader yang kena mainkan peranan. So is this leader communicate to their employee to implement the ISO 9001? Ada strategi issue ke tak? Leader kena come out dengan business plan. Okay, what is the expectation semua? So involve everybody. Okay. Next is risk-based thinking. Okay, risk-based thinking, meaning that you need to, okay, saya bagi contoh lah, kalau saya rasa contoh lah lebih mudah. Okay, kat sini contoh dia, John Smith demonstrated the cutting of 32 meter cable, okay, and it was delivered as a 500 meter drum. John and the other two colleagues have received specialist training in Holland in the use of cutting machine. Okay, a previous contractor damaged a significant amount of cable. So the company took the decision to have a proper training to reduce the damage risk. So risk kat sini, kalau contractor tak ada training, proper training, they will damage the cable. Yelah, macam kita juga, kalau tak ada training nak guna apparatus dalam lab, kita mungkin akan rosakkan apparatus tu. Okay, contoh burette. Pipette lah, pipette burette sebab dia ada stopcock. Okay, burette, pipette. Pipette ni, kalau you letak je atas meja, okay, dia boleh tergolek jatuh. Sebenarnya dia ada tempat khas untuk pipette. Tapi kalau tak ada training, tak ada orang bagi tahu you sebelum ni, you mungkin kemungkinan boleh letak je atas meja tu tanpa berfikir ada risiko akan berlaku. Betul? So dia akan tergolek, jatuh, pecah. Okay. So sebelum benda tu berlaku, sebelum before any risk happen, we give you training, we give you knowledge. Okay, where is the proper place to put the pipette? So that one we can reduce the risk. So this is the risk-based thinking. Okay, you need to think about the risk that might happen. So before the risk happen, you already do a proper training. Okay, give a knowledge to your staff to reduce the risk. Okay, tapi bukanlah tak semestinya sebelum berlaku. Selepas berlaku pun boleh fikirkan macam mana nak reduce the risk. Okay, as being done by the company to John and his colleagues. Okay, send them for proper training to handle the cable. So next time dah kurang kabel yang rosak. So there has been no cable damage as a consequence. Okay, from the risk-based thinking made by the company, they managed to reduce the cable damage. Okay, so that is risk-based thinking. So I'm giving you the other example that might happen in the lab just now by using the pipette. Okay. Glass pipette ya, bukan micro pipette, glass pipette. Okay, so next terms is process-based approach. Okay. So when used within the quality management system, the process approach ensures understanding and consistently meeting requirements, consideration of process in terms of added value. Okay, saya tak nak cerita yang tu, you boleh baca sendiri. Okay, what does it mean by process-based approach? Okay, to fulfill the quality, to get a very good quality product, the final product, you need to consider all the requirements from the beginning. Tadi kita tengok input, process, output kan? Okay, process-based approach ni maksudnya kita reduce risk ataupun kita fulfill requirements bermula daripada proses the very beginning. Okay, until you get the final product. Lepas dah berjaya jual dekat customer, itu proses. So untuk fulfill requirements ataupun achieve the quality management system, kita tak boleh tengok final product sahaja. Kita kena tengok daripada awal lagi, the raw material, the supplier, proses, apa proses yang berlaku. Okay, so you look at the bottom, there is a requirements. Okay, yang ni the very first stage. You look at the customer requirements and then what are the inputs, needs, operation, outputs and the final products and services. So each of the stages have their own risks. Okay, identify the risk, reduce the risk is also in the process. So to get a quality management system, you need to look at the process based. Okay, once you achieve the process based approach, then you can get a very good quality product. Okay, that is on process based approach. Dulu, ISO 9001, the previous version yang lama dulu, diorang tengok pada final product saja. Okay, tapi yang terbaru, the latest version, they look at from the beginning and then the operation happens, so it covers all the process. Okay. So here is a very detailed one. So what are the input, process, output involved? Okay, so when you look at from the beginning, the process happened to achieve the quality. Okay, contoh kat sini kita tengok manufacturing company. Okay, kalau input dia customer schedule, raw materials. Okay, with what? Kita kalau ada company besar, kena ada plant, kena ada machinery, measuring equipment, tools, maintenance. Once you have machine, you have to maintain the machine. Packaging, labeling, all these requirements are actually in the process based approach. Okay, you need to fulfill everything listed, then you can say that you have a very good quality management. Okay, SIPOC diagram. Actually, it is the same with the previous one, but we call it as SIPOC diagram. S is for sources, I is for input, P is for the process or activities, O is output, C is the customer or receiver. So SIPOC diagram is a short version of source, input, process, output, and customer. So you need to fulfill everything under these sources, input, activities, process, activities or process, output, and customers. You fulfill all the requirements, then you can say that you achieve the quality management system. Okay. So next term, the final term is documented information. Okay, the previous version of ISO 9001, they didn't call it as documented information. They call it as documents. Okay, documents and records. Okay, so previously document and records. Kalau document, you need to be, it needs to be current and updated. For example, in our lab, okay, kalau dekat lab, contoh dokumen adalah manual. Manual you kena current, kena updated. So kalau ada perubahan, kena fulfill the current situation lah dekat industries. Okay, that's why lab manual ni kita akan update from time to time based on industries needs. Okay, so kena update. So that one is fall under document. Tapi untuk record is a permanent and preservation. You cannot do any editing on the record. The example of record is your lab report. Lab report ada results kan? So results tu you tak boleh simply edit. Okay, it comes from the machine. Okay, tapi result dia tak cantik lah, saya nak ubah. Tak boleh. That one is record. Kalau you pergi hospital, ada record kesihatan kan, that one is permanent, preservation, preserve, that one is record. So you cannot do any editing on this record. Okay, tapi document kalau lab manual boleh update. Okay. So these two terms being used by previous ISO 9001, previous version, but for current version 2015, we call these two as documented information. Why? Because these two is more flexible. Okay, so for document, for records, okay, we call it as retained documented information. Retain. Okay, and then for other than records, we call it as maintain documented information. Kita kena maintain dia. Jadi kita kena untuk records kita retain documented information. So kita guna general terms documented information because it is more flexible. Okay, I'm giving you one example why it is more flexible. A company, okay, they have company objective. Okay, so company objective, okay, contoh, we need to achieve 90% of customer satisfaction this year. That is one objective of the company. Tapi dia kena bagi tahu semua employee Tak bolehlah leader seorang je tahu, oh tahun ni kita nak capai 90% customer satisfaction. Tapi dia tak bagi tahu siapa-siapa macam mana nak achieve 90% sebab dia involve all the operation, all the peoples in the company. So he need to give this information or objective to everybody. So how to give the information? If you, he stick with the previous version of 9001 standard, dia kena tulis, paparkan dekat mana-mana, kalau auditor datang tanya employee, okay, you tahu tak objective of your company? Kalau tak tahu, maksudnya kat situ dah non-conformity, dia dah tak capai standard requirements. Dia auditor boleh salahkan leader. Okay, you tak bagi tahu you punya employee apa objektif company. Lepas tu leader kata, saya dah bagi tahulah. You tak ingat kot. Tak boleh sebab dulu kita nak dokumen, kita nak ada physical document. Okay, kat mana you letak objektif tu? Kenapa? Macam mana employee boleh tak tahu? Okay, but now for documented information, this leader can put the objective anywhere. Okay, dia boleh framekan objektif tu letak kat dinding ataupun boleh letak dekat ID employee ID tu kan, dia ada dia punya apa you gantung ID you dekat ni kan. Lepas tu dia ada macam dia punya casing, casing dia tu kat belakang tu boleh supply the objective of company to their employee, buat sama besar macam ID, boleh letak dekat dalam casing yang sama. So that one is already documented information. Tak semestinya you kena letak dalam file cantik-cantik. Dulu kena ada file, specific files. But now you letak je kat mana-mana, bila auditor datang tanya employee you what is the objective of the company, dia tengok je dekat casing belakang tu, dia baca, that one is already fulfill the requirements of ISO. Okay, so that is documented information. And then subtopic 1.2 under chapter 1 is context of organization. So now we are going to each clause in ISO 9001. Previously in subtopic 1.1 is only the introduction of LQMS and also the term used in ISO 9001. Okay, so context of organization is clause 4. So we start with 4.1, understanding the organization and its context. So this one has been explained in the video given to you in the recording. So I'm not going to go very details. Here under 4.1, you need to know the external and internal issues that affecting the organization. Okay, and they must be the outcomes of these external and internal issues should be fulfilling the quality management system. Okay, 4.2 is understanding the need and expectation of the interested parties. Of course, when you are dealing when you are working, for example, in the laboratory, you are going to fulfill the requirement of your customers. We are not talking about teaching lab yang you buat eksperimen dekat lab sekarang ni, kita panggil teaching lab. We are talking about working lab. Okay, in industries, in company, any company that have a laboratory, so we are talking about that. So when we are talking about working lab, we are going to fulfill customer requirements. Not only customer, but we have other interested parties involved. So here I'm giving you 7 interested parties including the customer, and I'm sure in the recording I already explained I think some of the requirements from these interested parties that you need to fulfill as well. Okay. 4.3, determine the scope of your organization if you are working in the laboratory. So the scope for your lab. Okay, and to determine the scope, you need to consider the external and internal issues just now. Okay, the requirement of interested parties in 4.2 and all the activities, product and services that you are going to deliver to your customers. Okay, and then scope shall be maintained as documented information. Now you can see there is a word terms documented information used here. So this scope shall be maintained. So maintains refers to records or other than records. Anyone can unmute and answer my question. Hello. I'm sure you guys already used the time last week to go through the recording. Today I'm only do some revision before we go for next subtopic. Maintain documented information refers to what? Records or other than records? Or shall we? Sorry?
Other than records.
Other than records. Thank you very much. I thought that if there is no one going to answer the question, I'm going to stop for today so that you have some times to go back to the recording. Okay, so thank you. I'm not sure who is talking just now because when I make it slideshow, so I only see the slides. But thank you very much. Okay, so maintain as documented information means that you this scope is not a record. And then when it is not a record, you can update this scope. Okay, for example, if your the scope of your lab is water analysis, you have water analysis lab, and then you want to expand your laboratory. Instead of only water analysis, you want to do biochemicals analysis. Okay, anything involve biological process, it is under biochemistry, so biochemicals analysis. You want to extend your scope, the scope of your laboratory, then you can only update the documented information. If retain documented information, okay, it refers to records. You cannot do any editing on that records. For example, lab report. Lab report, the results of your experiments you put in the lab report, that one is record. You cannot do any editing on the lab report. Okay, but scope 4.3, you need to determine the scope of your lab. The scope shall be maintained as documented information means that you can do an updates on your scopes. Okay. So once you consider all these three things, then you need to establish the scope. And once you establish, you communicate to your partners in the lab, or you communicate to your lab assistants, everyone involved in the lab about this scope, okay, and then you need to implement. Okay, so after you have implement, you need to maintain the scope in order to fulfill the customer requirements and continually improve. Is there anything lacking somewhere? You can do continuous improvement. Okay, and then 4.4, QMS and its process. So this one also we consider the PDCA cycle. So plan, you need to plan the process. Okay, to extend the planning, you need to consider risk. Okay, and then once you have planned, you can carry out the process. Okay, you plan to set up a laboratory of water analysis. Okay, all the process involved, you need to consider the risk. Once you have a proper planning, what does it mean by proper planning? Okay, if let's say you have 6 instruments for water analysis. Okay, this is only example. You have 6 instruments in the lab. Okay, you need to consider all the calibration, maintenance of the instrument, um, a competent person who can conduct the experiment using that instruments. So you consider the person in charge for the instrument. How many person in charge should be handling the 6 instrument? Is it only one person in charge for all the instrument, or 2 person in charge? So that is under planning. Once you have a proper planning, after you do the calculation on the number of samples every week, and you think that 2 person in charge should be involved in the lab to handle the instrument, then you can carry out the process. Okay, kalau tak cukup person in charge, you might delay the process and your customer is not satisfied with the results, means that you cannot carry out the process yet until you get 2 person in charge. Okay, nak buat interview ke, nak macam mana nak hire another person in charge, itu that one is under planning. Okay, and then next, when you carry out the process, you need to monitor and measure the process performance. If 2 person in charge can deliver a very good and fast results for your customer, then you can proceed. But if 2 person in charge is not good enough to fulfill the requirement of your customers, let's say this customer, you have, for example, 10 clients. Okay, 10 clients, every week they send you, one client send you 100 samples. Okay, and they require 2 weeks to get the results. Okay, after you monitor and measure the process performance, this 2 person in charge is not enough. So you need to do improvement, okay, in the app process. You need to do improvement, hire another person in charge. Okay, so that is only one example. There are so many examples, but I'm giving you a simple example here. Okay, next 1.3 leadership. Okay, previously we look at the what does these terms leadership means, and for this subtopic 1.3 we are going to look at the requirements of leadership in ISO 9001. So 5.1, okay, it highlight on the commitment of a leader. Okay, so these are all the commitment. Okay, and then the example being given in the recording, so I'm not going to go one by one. It is very straightforward. 5.2, a leader need to communicate, understood and apply the quality policy of the organization, within the organization or within the lab. In your case, your scope is only laboratory, but we can also apply to other departments in an organization. Okay, and this quality policy should be available to interested parties. Okay, those 7 interested parties should know the quality policy of your laboratory, and this must be available as documented information. Whether it is maintained or retained, please refer to the standard given to you in column. Okay. 5.3, still under leadership. Okay, we are talking about organization. Okay, so last time in the recording I shared with you previously, we stopped at quality policy, right? So today we are going to continue with subclause 5.3. Okay, so this one It's still under leadership. Okay, so sorry, this one is okay under subclass 5 leadership. So we are talking about organizational roles, responsibilities, and authorities. The leader should ensure the quality management system conform with the requirements. Okay, how to ensure this leader should know every requirements. Okay, not only the standard requirements, but also requirements of the lab. Okay, the raw materials, the person in charge, the instrument, the sources for the laboratory. So this one, once the leader ensure the quality management of everything in the labs, okay, it might confirm with the requirement of ISO 9001. Okay, I cannot say that yes, it confirms because it depends on the lab process. Okay, but this leader should ensure the quality management system. Okay, and then process, the leader should ensure the process are delivering their intended outputs. Okay, this one is very straightforward. And then performance, reporting the performance including recommendation for improvement. So we are still talking about the PDCA cycles. Once you deliver the process, okay, and then you need to come up with a performance, okay, and then and also recommendation for improvement. Customer focus, ensure the promotion of customer focus. Leader should ensure the promotion of customer focus to those person in charge in the lab. Okay, so for laboratory, usually laboratory manager is the leader. So this leader, lab manager, should ensure the promotion of customer focus. So he or she needs to make sure all the person in charge in lab, including cleaner, lab assistant, technical staff, students. No, there is no students for working lab. Usually we have internship students, right? So they need to focus to make sure uh, all the teams, okay, know what is the customer focus, okay, so that they can fulfill the customer requirements. Okay, last one is integrity. So a leader should also ensure the integrity are maintained. Okay, integrity pun straightforward. Okay, subtopic 1.4, planning for the quality management system. Okay, in clause 6, okay, we are going to look at one by one, 6.1, which is action to address risk and opportunities. Remember, previously I said we are talking about risk-based thinking, right? It is not only identify the risk and take action to prevent the risk. Okay, the detail of risk-based thinking will be covered in this clause 6. Subclause 6.1, we are talking about action to address risk and opportunities. What are the action involved? Okay, not only identify and take action, but we start with planning. Okay, planning the quality management system first, and then address the risk and opportunity happen when you want to achieve the quality management system, step by step, uh, based on the CPOC diagram. Okay, and then you integrate and implement action into the quality management system to reduce or eliminate the risk. Okay, how to do that? You can use the assessment matrix. Okay, this is the example of assessment matrix. Okay, consider the external and internal issues and also interested parties requirements. Okay, once you identify the risk, come up with a risk assessment matrix. What is risk assessment matrix? It is a table where you decide the severity of that risk, and also the likelihood the risk might happen. For example, if you think that the risk will give no or little effect to the process, and the probability that the risk happen is very low, you can mark that risk as 1, or you can put it as low. Depends on the company, depends on the organization. They can choose whatever terms they want to use, low, or they can put as 1. Okay, depends. Dan ni bukan rigid. We don't have any rigid assessment matrix. It is depends on the company how they come up with a risk assessment matrix. But the severity and likelihood is the same. Okay, if the risk, okay, will give a serious impact to the course of action and outcome, and the possibility to happen is likely to occur, okay, you can put it as high, or you can use number 8 to identify, to address that risk. Okay, so that when other people see this risk assessment matrix, they know that the risk is very will happen, and the risk is very high, very serious. Okay, so this is only example. This one you might use when you do your internship or you work in industry that have lab, or those who don't have lab also use this, the same assessment matrix. Okay, this is only for your information. Okay, to for you to see the real example of addressing the risk and opportunities. Okay, what you need to know is this information, how they, the action, how they address the risk and opportunities. Okay, 6.2, we are talking about quality objective and planning to achieve them. Okay, every lab or organization that certified with ISO 9001 should have quality objective. Kalau tak certified pun patutnya ada quality objective. They might have their own management system, not using ISO 9001, but they have their own. They also have the quality objective, how to achieve the quality, okay, what they need to do, and planning to achieve them, how they want to achieve the quality objective. So what to consider is that what will be done to achieve the quality objective, what resources is required to achieve the quality objective, who will be responsible, when it will be completed, and how the results will be evaluated. These 5 questions, 4W1H, okay, usually in industry we call it as 4W1H. You need to answer all these 5 questions in order to achieve your quality objective. And while answering these 5 questions, you are actually planning to achieve them. Okay, you are given the example on your right hand side. So for example, if you are working in studio, okay, I'm giving you another example instead of a laboratory. Okay, you are working in studio, so the objective to ensure the facilities be available on time in order to say that you have a quality services. So to achieve the quality service, a very good and quality services, first this studio need to ensure the facilities be available on time. Okay, studio. Kalau tak ada microphone, kita tak panggil studio lah kan. So the facilities available on time. Okay, so each of the keywords used in the objective, facilities available on time, need to be fulfilled in order to get a quality objective, to achieve the quality. Okay, kalau kata ensure facilities be available, tapi Sepatutnya on time ni customer datang dah ada. Ini tak. Customer datang hari ni, seminggu lagi baru available. That is not a quality outputs. Okay, so you need to fulfill every single terms used in the objective. Okay, so on time. Target, the equipment availability must be 99.5%. 0.5% usually anything happen that that is not that is out of your control. Okay, for example, to deliver the facilities on time, there is an accident happen. That one is 0.5% out of control. So this their target is logic. Availability is 99.5%. Staff availability is higher than the equipment availability, 99.95%. Okay, why they are confident with the staff availability? Okay, might be they already plan if staff A absent, staff B backup, something like that. Or they have 4 person in charge for that shift. Okay, kalau seorang absent ada lagi 3. Kalau dia letak 2 je, seorang absent, ada seorang je nak handle semua benda, mungkin susah lah. So that's why they are very confident with the staff availability. Okay, resources. What resources involved in the studio to ensure the facilities available on time? First, staff lah, okay, to handle the equipment, and then to communicate with the customer. Another one is studio facilities and equipment. This one is to for equipment availability. For staff availability, also staff and studio facilities and equipment, right? And then to monitor the process, okay, to ensure the performance is very good. The monitoring method, okay, for equipment availability, they use monthly report. Okay, and then for staff availability, they use daily logbook. That's why they are very confident with their target for staff availability. They are monitoring the staff availability daily. For equipment availability, once in a month. Okay, monthly report. Okay, so that is quality objective and planning to achieve them. Very detailed in a table. Okay, so if you see this type of table when you do your internship or you work in the future, so this one is how they planning to achieve the quality objective of their organisation. So dekat lab pun you boleh buat benda yang sama. Okay, so department laboratory. Objective, what is the objective? To ensure all the raw materials is new. Okay, so yang mana expired tu discard lah. Okay, so that is your objective. So what is your target? Okay, what are the resources? Who should handle to check the expired date? Okay, who should handle when to order the chemicals, so that order chemical kalau nak guna sebulan lagi dah ada available, tapi make sure expired date lambat lagi. Kalau nak guna sebulan lagi, some of the supplier they want to discard the chemicals that is near to expired date, dia jual je. Okay, padahal kita nak guna sebulan lagi, in between dah expired. So this person in charge should make sure that one, so that is a target. And also resources, the person in charge lah. Okay, how you monitor, you can put them here according to your target and objective. Okay, it might be different from this one. Okay, 6.3, planning of changes. Even changes happen, need a plan. Okay, so bukan main-main lah. Once you certified with ISO 9001, for example, now you are students, right? So when you read or when you go for interview, then you can ask, okay, or you can search for the company that you target, whether they are certified with ISO 9001 or not. If yes, it means that the company is very manageable. Okay, even changes pun ada plan. Bukan calang-calang company lah boleh certified dengan ISO 9001 because they need to fulfill every single things in the ISO 9001. Okay, and the simplest example here is planning for changes. Nak tukar sesuatu pun, for example, I'm giving to you example in the laboratory. For example, kalau you guys dah guna lah gas chromatography, okay, ataupun pernah dengar ataupun dah belajar on the gas chromatography. Okay, if you have a gas chromatography in the lab, okay, that gas chromatography is used to fulfill your customer requirements. Okay, they want to analyze their sample in a very short time with accurate results. So you use the GCMS, okay, gas chromatography mass spectrometry. Okay, let's say after 10 years, the performance of this GCMS has been degraded. Okay, so dah kurang perform lah. You nak tukar, okay, you want to change to a new GCMS, you need a very good planning. Okay, so what you need to consider in the planning of changes? First, purpose of change and any potential consequences. Okay, just now we are talking about GCMS. What is the purpose you want to change the GCMS, the old GCMS with the new GCMS? Okay, of course lah, yang ni straightforward sebab performance dia dah turun. And then another strong reason might be spare part. Spare part 10 tahun lalu, GCMS yang 10 tahun dah, spare part might not be available nowadays. Okay, that is the purpose of changes. Okay, I'm giving you 2 examples, but there are so many. Okay, not limited to that too. And then any potential consequences. Okay, apa effect kalau you tukar? That one also need to be planned. I'm giving you one example. Biasanya kalau when we are dealing with high-end equipment or instrument, the close one must be money, right? Money, cost to buy the new equipment. What is the potential consequences? Your company might need to, your laboratory might need to invest more than what you have invested 10 years ago. Okay, 10 years ago, the GCMS might be 200,000. Okay, after 10 years, of course lah, harga pun naik. So that one is one of the potential consequences. And then another potential consequences, new equipment, walaupun nama dia sama, GCMS, but they might have advanced system compared to 10 years ago. Okay. Sama lah macam you guys. Dulu kita ada Astro je. Sekarang kita ada lagi advanced Netflix lah apa semua tu. So that is a difference between 10 years ago, 10 years GCMS with a new GCMS. Nama je sama but the system might be different. So the potential consequences is that you, the laboratory, or if you are the laboratory manager, you need to send the person in charge to training. Itu pun cost juga. Sometimes the supplier provide training as well. Okay, so ada company yang jual instrumen je, dia tak provide training. Harga dia murah sikit, tapi dia kata kalau nak training kena bayar tambah. Something like that lah. So that is a potential consequences. Okay, and then second one, integrity of the quality management system. What does it mean? Okay, when any changes happen, is that changes affect the integrity of your QMS, quality management system. Okay, let's say you want to, here I'm giving you another example. If you want to reduce the person in charge in your lab, okay, after 5 years, when you do data analysis, you think that instead of having 4 person in charge in your lab, you want to reduce to 2 person in charge. So you need to check whether when reduce the person in charge in the lab, whether this will affect the integrity of the QMS. Kalau dia, for example, the effect is customer satisfaction. Okay, having 2 person in charge, you might delay the process. So customer satisfaction is one of the integrity of QMS. If they satisfied, then it is okay. But if they are not satisfied, then it affect the integrity of the QMS. You cannot do the changes. You might other planning is that okay, after 2 or 3 years baru kita reduce. Depends on the customer samples, something like that. Okay, so that is integrity of QMS. If it affect the integrity, then you need to have another plan, or you cannot do the changes yet. Okay, if it doesn't affect the integrity of QMS, you still fulfill all the requirements in ISO 9001, then you can proceed. Okay, third, availability of resources. Okay, so availability of resources include money, person in charge, equipments, okay, availability of resources. If you want to do changes, then you need to consider the resources. Just now, you want to change the old GCMS with a new GCMS, right? Another example for this third requirement is that you have one GCMS in your laboratory and then you want to buy a new one. You don't want to replace, you want to buy a new one. Why? Because the sample increase and then you think that by buying a new GCMS, you can speed up the process. Okay, you want to buy a new one. Now you have 2 GCMS in your laboratory. Who are going to handle the 2 GCMS? Okay, is that the person in charge for the first GCMS, or you need to hire another person in charge? So that is the availability of resources. So another person in charge for the new GCMS. Or if one person in charge is enough, then you need to look at another resources. GCMS, it needs using electricity. Okay, sorry. When adding a new instrument, you need to consider the electricity. Okay, is it available? Is it enough to support the new GCMS? Okay, so you need to consider the availability of resources. Or space. Space dekat lab tu. Muat tak nak letak satu lagi GCMS baru? So that is the availability of resources. And the last one that you need to consider when do planning of changes, allocation or reallocation of responsibilities and authorities. So allocation sama macam contoh tadi, allocation of responsibilities and authorities, either to have the same person in charge or you want to hire a new person in charge, that is allocation. Reallocations means that either you hire a new person in charge or just reallocate person in charge from other laboratory to your laboratory. Okay, that is responsibilities and authorities. Okay, until 6.3, any questions? If yes, you can write down on the meeting chat. If it is very fast for you, then you can let me know so that if you want me to repeat again or I'm going to go in a slow motion, okay, depends. Okay, so any question, guys?
So far okay, doctor.
So far okay, thank you very much for your response. What about others?
No, doctor.
Okay, thank you Zahid. Right, so if there is no question, let's move on. Okay, so until 6.3, subclause 6.3, from subclause 4.1 until 6.3, that is under chapter 1. So now we are going to move to chapter 2, where we start with clause 7. And we are going to focus on clause 7 only for chapter 2. Okay, before that, before I forgot, we are going to have our quiz 1 and quiz 2 simultaneously. Okay, so biasanya saya akan ambil hari Jumaat lah, 1 hour class, we are going to conduct our quiz. So it's not going to be this Friday because I'm going to give you some times to do revision. We are going to have quiz 1 and 2. Okay. Quiz 1 is on chapter 1 and quiz 2 is on chapter 2 and 3. Okay. So it will be on next Friday. Okay, the details will be given in group. Okay, kalau kata tiba-tiba saya nak buat quiz 2 tu chapter 2 je, nanti saya update dalam group. Okay, but for now, chapter 1, quiz 1, chapter 2 and 3, quiz 2. All of them are objective. And saya nak tanya you guys lah, sama ada kita nak buat online quiz or face to face. Okay, but we are going to have them in the same day. Okay, 15 minutes for quiz 1, another 15 minutes for quiz 2. Right. Now we move on to chapter 2 on support, which is in ISO 9001. It is clause 7. So we start with 7.1, subclause 7.1. We are talking about resources in detail. Previously, you can see there are few words, few clause that focusing on resources. Now, we are going to go into details. What are resources? Okay, it's not only the infrastructure, the instrument, but resources include people. Okay, yang saya sebut person in charge tu people lah. Okay, second one is infrastructure. Okay, including equipment, transportation, building, equipment not only hardware, software pun equipment, communication technology, those are infrastructure. Okay, third one is organizational knowledge. Okay, determine, maintain and make available knowledge needed. For example, manual on handling the equipment. So that is organizational knowledge, one of the example. Okay, determine, maintain and make it available for the person in charge to handle the equipment. Other example is if the job scope needs a person in charge with master degree. So that one is organizational knowledge. Or some of the company, tak silap saya harta lega dekat Selangor ke? Selangor kot. Kalau you pernah dengar lah harta lega ni, sorry?
Dekat Sepang.
Sepang
Dekat Sepang.
Thank you very much. So harta lega tu dia ada satu jawatan, dia memang nak PhD. So that is organizational knowledge because they already identify those with only with PhD can handle that job scope. So that is organizational knowledge as well. Okay, and then the fourth one, monitoring and measuring resources. Not only having these resources, the three resources, but you also need to monitor and measure the resources. How to do it depends. If people, how you monitor and measure people? Okay, might be by doing monthly tests, okay, or sometimes performance evaluation based on testing. Okay, kalau equipment, dia handle equipment, boleh minta dia buat testing lah on the equipment, and then if you have 4 person in charge for the equipment, you can compare their results. Okay, if they are comparable, we can say that they are competent enough. Or if one of them giving a very different results from others, uh, that is how you do monitoring and measuring the resources of people. Infrastructure pun sama, monitor the performance of the equipment and measure their performance. How to do it? You might use statistical data analysis. Okay, bell shape lah apa semua tu ada dekat industri. Okay, how they monitor the resources. Okay, and then the last one, not only people, infrastructure, organizational knowledge, another resources is environment. Okay, environment, physical, social, psychological and others. Okay, psychological ni usually for human lah. So you need to determine, provide and maintain good environment to your team. Okay, kalau nampak psychologically dia tak okay, okay, so you have to determine what makes him or her acting like that. Okay, selalu marah-marah. Itu psychological. When this person kalau dia marah-marah, dia akan effect kerja dia kan. Sama juga macam kita, semua orang macam tu. Kalau stres, tak datang kelas. Something like that. So it affect the quality of his or her job. So that is psychological. So you need to do something as a leader. Okay, determine, provide. Okay, provide solution to this kind of people yang affected in terms of psychology. Okay, or if you are talking about ergonomic, kalau you pernah dengar ergonomic, student OSH belajar lah ergonomic ni. For example, kerusi yang you duduk, ergonomic ke tak? Ergonomic means it can prevent any back pain for you. So that is ergonomic. If you search on ergonomic chairs, memang ada lah dekat luar yang supply. So industry ataupun laboratory have to provide an ergonomic chairs to their person in charge. Okay, and then maintain. Of course lah, kalau dari segi ergonomik tadi, kerusi for sometimes dia akan rosak. So you have to maintain, beli yang baru. Okay, cleanliness also environment. So that one is very important for your safety. So these are the 4 resources and how you need to monitor and measuring their performance. Okay. Bukan senang ya nak dapat ISO 9001 certificate. So if the company is certified, we can say that they are fulfilling all the requirements, especially on the resources. Okay, kalau one of the company in Gabank, saya pernah collaborate lah dengan company ni. Not only ergonomic, those things. Breastfeeding mother pun dia consider what are the requirement of breastfeeding mother. Okay, so they can provide the needs of this breastfeeding mother to ensure they are happy at work and can deliver a quality job. Sampai macam tu sekali kalau dia certified with ISO 9001. That's why I'm telling you now, if you want to find job in future, please consider company that is certified with ISO 9001. InsyaAllah, they are giving you a good environment. Okay, tapi tak semualah. Ada tu, ini contoh yang terpencil. Saya pernah jumpa company certified with ISO 9001. Bila saya masuk je, dalam hati saya, betul ke certified dengan ISO 9001 ni? Dengan dokumen dia berterabur dengan ni. Saya tak tahu macam mana dia berlakon masa auditor datang tu, wallahualam. Tapi biasanya kalau company besar, they are following the requirements, the rules and regulations to fulfill the requirement of ISO 9001. Biasa kalau company kecil-kecil ni yang buat hal. Okay, so please make sure you understand the requirements and then to find a good company in future. Okay. Next, under support, we are not only talking about resources. Okay, to support your processes, the lab process, you not only have resources, but you need to have another one is 7.2 competence. Competence personnel. Okay, so the first one, you need to determine the necessary competencies. Okay, for example, if you are working in chemistry lab, of course, the competency will be someone with chemistry degree. That is competencies. Means that they have knowledge on the chemistry, they know how to handle the equipment apparatus very well. They can give a very good results, very accurate and precise results. So that is competencies. If you have biological lab, you need someone with biological knowledge. So that knowledge is considered as necessary competencies. Okay, kalau you hire someone from architecture for a biological lab, how to get the necessary competencies for your lab? So that is what does it mean by determine necessary competencies so that you hire a competent person. Okay, second, provide education, training or consider experience. So if you are hiring a new graduates, okay, so you need to provide education and training because they don't have any experience, right? Or if you want to reduce the cost for training and providing education to new graduates, you can consider someone with experience. Okay, dah ada 5 tahun experience, 10 tahun experience. So when you go for job searching, you can see that the requirements already written. We want to find someone with 5 years experience, 10 years experience because they want to reduce the cost for training new graduate students. Okay, but there is a but there. Jangan risau. When you hire an experienced person, the salary will be higher than someone new graduate students. Then they need to consider whether giving training will cost more or hiring someone with experience will cost them more. Usually dia akan ambil yang fresh grad lah. Sebab fresh grad dia bayar gaji bulan-bulan. Okay, tapi tak sebanyak yang ada experience lah. Let's say fresh grad sekarang chemical industries paling minimum lah 2,500. Kalau ada yang bayar kurang daripada tu, you kena tengok lah company tu margin dia berapa. Company kecil ke besar. Okay, but usually our fresh grad yang senior you sebelum ni paling sikit 2,500 tu pun kadang seorang dua je. Kalau yang graduate 90 orang, seorang dua je 2,500. Kebanyakannya 3,000 ke atas lah. Okay, so fresh grad, they have to pay them monthly 2,500. Tapi kalau experienced person, it can goes up to 10,000 per month. Sampai macam tu. 5 years experience, chemical industries, because we are dealing with high risk chemicals, it can go up to 10,000 per month for experience. Okay, itu bulan-bulan you kena bayar. Kalau dia hantar you training berapa kali je kena hantar sampai you dapat competencies. Tak adalah dalam setahun tu nak hantar tiap bulan kan. So yang tu lagi kurang kos daripada bayar bulan-bulan 10K kepada orang yang experience. So most of the company would go for the second one, providing education and training. Sometimes training tak perlu hantar luar pun. They can use their own seniors to train the newcomers. Okay, not only giving external training, they can do the internal training using the experienced people in that laboratory to teach the fresh grad. Tu pun dah boleh reduce cost. Okay, panjang cerita saya. Padahal saya nak cerita kat you yang competencies ni je. Tapi for your information and you have a good knowledge when you go outside. Okay, so don't worry. And the third one, take action to acquire the competencies and evaluate effectiveness. Once you hire the person in charge, okay, you need to take action. If you send them for training, you need to evaluate whether the training is effective for them or not. Okay, if you hire experienced person, evaluate their competencies. Okay, kata experience 5 tahun, sekali bila buat competencies evaluation, tak mencapai kehendak. So they need to evaluate the effectiveness of their decision just now. If they decide to give training for a newcomers, so they have to evaluate the effectiveness of the training. If they decide to hire experienced person, they need to evaluate the competencies of this experienced person, because when you have experience means that you already competence in your area. Okay, kalau yang newcomers ni you kena evaluate the training, bukan evaluate orang tu. Dia berbeza lah. So and then once you already done the 3 requirements here, okay, first one done, second done, third already done. The fourth one, requirements for 7.2 that organisation should fulfill is to retain the appropriate documented information. Now we are going to look at retain. Just now on the scope, we are talking about maintain. For competencies, okay, 7.2, we need to retain, means that we are talking about records, the one that you cannot do any changes. Can you give me example of records for 7.2 competence? You can write down on the meeting chat. So that documented information, the records, we call it as objective evidence. Okay, let me write down on the meeting chat. In industry, we call it as objective evidence. Or in simple words, it is proof. How to prove that your organisation fulfill the requirement of competence 7.2. So you need to provide objective evidence or proof. So that proof, anyone can give me example of records as a proof that you fulfill the requirements of competence, or the three things that you need to do. Ni yang saya tak suka online ni. Okay.
Doctor, is it like your bank statements that you cannot change anything?
Yeah, that one is
that
record.
like that kind of?
Yeah.
No, you're asking other than recordings which we need to retain, which means we cannot change, we cannot do editing to that document. Is it like that?
Yes.
So
But
bank
then
statement
now,
would be an example of it.
Yeah, the example of records that you use to prove you already fulfill 7.2 requirements. For example, determine necessary competencies. what is the proof or records that you already determine the necessary competencies. The second one, provide education and training. So what is the proof? What is the documented information to prove or records that you can show to the auditor you are providing the education and training to your fresh grads? This record cannot be changed.
Doktor, logbook
Yes.
boleh ke jadi proof? Logbook.
Logbook?
Tak.
Logbook you use for what? Zulaika?
Sekejap doktor.
Fatin Kamila, certificate. Certificate? Fatin Kamila tanya saya balik. Okay, this certificate is for what, Fatin Kamila?
Doktor, logbook untuk proofkan competencies tak
Logbook
untuk proofkan competency.
proof competencies. Logbook ni biasanya kita guna untuk record keluar masuk raw materials, keluar masuk person in charge dalam lab. Itu logbook.
Logbook yang untuk industrial training punya doktor.
Untuk industrial training.
Kan kita ada buat buku, tulis-tulis apa kita punya kerja yang kita buat.
Tapi itu bukan kompetensis. Kompetensis yang you dah kompeten. Maksudnya kalau guna GCMS tu, competencies, we give you 6 month training on that competencies. After 6 months, we are going to evaluate whether you get the intended results from that training or not. For example, we send you for GCMS training for 6 months, okay, and then coming back to the lab, we ask you to do the experiment. Kalau you boleh bagi results yang sama macam someone already experienced in the lab, then you are competent.
Okey, faham doktor. Terima kasih doktor.
Sama. Sebab tu saya tanya logbook tu untuk apa? Dia boleh jadi logbook tapi kegunaan dia tu macam mana? So certificate Fatin Kamila, certificate for what? Can you give more details on the certificate? Kalau macam ni kita kena buat face to face lah 3 jam.
Kalau through exam boleh tak doktor?
Sorry?
Through exam. Kan ada certain company dia suka buat macam exam lah kalau kita nak ada dia punya test lah waktu kerja.
So macam exam paper lah.
Lebih kurang macam tu. Sebab tak saya macam ada certain company macam tu. Dia ada quiz gitu kan.
Okay. Good try. Okay. So kita ada kat sini ada 3. Dah ada 3 dah jawapan. Okay. We might have full face-to-face class if the response is very slow like this. Okay. So Fatin Kamila said certificate. Yes. My question is what kind of certificate, but there is no answer from Fatin Kamila. Okay, so certificate, yes, that's true, but you need to put training certificate. Okay, training certificate. Barulah you jawapan tu menjurus kepada 7.2 competence. Kalau you letak certificate sahaja, attendance certificate lain. Okay, training certificate lain. Competency certificate lain. Okay, if you are talking about 0.1, 0.2, provide education and training. Attendance certificate can be one of them. Competency certificate pun boleh jadi. Competency certificate ni biasanya experienced person. You hire experienced person, ask them for competency certificate. Kalau training for fresh grad, attendance certificate. Okay, Amira Akilah training attendance pun betul juga. Okay, instead of training certificate, training attendance yang you ambil masa training tu pun boleh jadi evidence. But usually training evidence for internal training. Training attendance for internal training. Sebab kalau external, bukan you yang provide training. So, jadi you tak boleh nak ambil attendance tu daripada provider. Kalau you buat internal, you boleh dapatkan training attendance. Okay, training certificate boleh, competency certificate pun boleh. Okay, for 0.1, determine necessary competencies. You can have, for example, when you do discussion or meeting with your management, okay, to determine the necessary competencies, minute of meeting is one of the proof. Means that you are doing step 1 to determine the necessary competencies by doing a meeting with management people, and then you come up with a list of necessary competencies. The minute of meeting is one of the objective evidence or proof for the first step in fulfilling 7.2, clause 7.2. Okay, kalau dalam soalan, biasanya saya akan bagi soalan very specific. Give me objective evidence in order to determine the necessary competencies of fresh graduates. So memang spesifik. Determine necessary competencies. Kalau you bagi saya jawapan training certificate, salah. Training certificate is for number 2. Provide education, training. Competency certificate for experienced person. So you need to read the question carefully. Okay. Take action to acquire competencies and evaluate its effectiveness. Okay. Just now Zulaika said exam paper and also the results. Tak boleh exam paper je. Exam paper ni betul, tapi biasanya kita tengok results dia lah baru kita boleh tahu effectiveness of the training. Kalau kita tunjuk exam paper sahaja, auditor tak boleh tahu efektif ke tak. Okay, so the results from the exam is how to evaluate the effectiveness. Thank you very much to Zulaika, Fatin Kamila and Amira Akilah for your response and also your correct answers. But you need to give more information. Okay, thank you. Now and those are records. And we use the words retain documented information. Jangan tertukar dengan maintain. Maintain documented information other than records that you can update. Okay, for example, lab manual. Lab manual kalau ada perubahan boleh update. Kalau ada for example LQMV syllabus. Okay, once industry use the new version of ISO 9001, saya pun upgrade ataupun update ataupun do revision from previous syllabus to new syllabus based on ISO 9001 new version. That is one of maintain documented information. Okay, next 7.3 awareness. Okay, it is separated from competencies. Competencies ni how competent you are when handling the equipment. Awareness, okay, you need to consider 4 things. First one, quality policy. Awareness means that you need to make sure everyone working in the lab or organization that is certified with ISO 9001 know and understand the quality policy of your organization. Aware. Okay, dia tahu, okay, kita ada quality policy. That is awareness. So how to give awareness to your colleagues? There are so many things. Okay, one of them is by putting the quality policy on the wall of your laboratory. That is awareness. Okay. Second, not only quality policy, you need to make sure everyone aware with the quality objective of your organization. Okay. The third one, awareness of contribution to effectiveness of quality management system. Means that everyone in the lab aware that their contribution can give effectiveness of the quality management system. These ISO 9001 requirements cannot be fulfilled by one person. Okay, bukan kata leader je yang kena buat kerja untuk fulfill all the requirements. Everyone involved in that organisation should contribute for the effectiveness of quality management system. For example, in the laboratory, without cleaner who are going to clean the mess, sorry, not mess. Okay, for example, if there is a broken glass in the lab, okay, you as a new students, you don't know how to handle broken glass in the lab. Okay, we have our cleaner that know how to handle it and where to throw the broken glass. Okay, this cleaner also the person who involved in the lab. So this cleaner, without her contribution, it will not giving you an effective quality management system because one of the resources is environment. Cleanliness is one of the requirement, right? So to make sure the lab is clean, we need to have a knowledgeable cleaner. Okay, this cleaner know how to handle broken glass. Sebab kalau you tahu sapu sampah je, tapi tak tahu macam mana nak handle broken glass, you don't have any knowledge on that, it will harm yourself. It is very dangerous. So, knowledgeable cleaner, the contribution is also important to the effectiveness of quality management system. So, awareness. This cleaner aware that her or his contribution can lead to an effective of quality management system. Okay, and then the last one, all the persons in the organization aware the implication if they don't confirm, they don't fulfill the QMS requirements. So yang cleaner tadi, dia tahu macam mana nak handle broken glass, tapi dia tak tahu pun yang contribution dia ni penting. So kadang instead of she clean the broken glass, dia minta student yang baru first year baru masuk ni bersihkan sendiri, something like that lah. So they didn't know the implication that might affect the QMS. So dia buat macam tu. Tapi kalau dia aware, if the cleaner aware the implication for not confirming the QMS requirements, then they will do their job well. Okay, kenapa saya cakap cleaner? Banyak kali highlight on cleaner. Cleaner tak ada knowledge chemistry pun. Tapi contribution dia penting kan? Kalau you guys as a chemist, memang dah kerja dekat lab chemistry, you supposed to know how to handle a broken glass. Okay, but then if you also didn't know the implication of not conforming with the quality management system, you can also break the requirements of ISO 9001. Tapi sebab you, okay, of course lah, to be a chemist, you need at least diploma. Diploma, you pun dah belajar pasal safety and health. Okay, that's why I'm talking about cleaner yang mungkin tak tahu apa pasal safety dalam lab. Okay, tapi since the lab manager is very responsible, the lab manager involve everyone in the lab, giving awareness, then they together can fulfill the requirements of quality management system. Okay. And then 7.4, communication. Just now we are talking about how the lab manager give awareness to the people in the lab. Not only awareness, okay, banyak lagi benda yang perlu leader communicate with all the team members. That's why ISO 9001 also focusing on the communication. Siap letak dalam satu subclass under support, because ISO 9001 think that communication is very important. Okay, miscommunication habis lah. Lagi-lagi kalau you bekerja dalam chemical lab. Okay. So when talking about communication, okay, consider the internal, customer and interested parties. Internals means that your team members in the workplace. Okay, kalau lab, semua person in charge, semua lab assistant, technical staff, internship students, you as a lab manager, okay, you need to know how to communicate with all those internal parties. And then how to communicate with the customer. And the last one, interested parties, the 7 interested parties, remember? So communication between these internal and interested parties. Okay, you need to consider 4 things. What to communicate? Okay, what to communicate? If we are talking about awareness just now, we are talking about you need to communicate with the interested parties and internal parties about the awareness. Okay, awareness about quality objective. Communicate with your team members. What is the objective that we want to achieve in for our laboratory? Okay, when to communicate? If quality objective, of course, at the very beginning when you hire the person in charge. Takkanlah dah 2 tahun kerja baru nak bagi tahu hari ni. Okay, objektif lab kita nak capai 90% customer satisfaction. Orang tu dah kerja setahun 2 baru nak bagi tahu. Okay, so need to know what to communicate and when to communicate. Okay, and then with whom to communicate. Okay, so this one coming to the box. Okay, sometimes the information only for internal. Okay, person in charge in the lab. Okay, your team members in the lab cannot be communicate to other than internal. For example, interested party, NGO. Okay, maklumat tu tak semestinya boleh kongsi dengan semua orang. That's why we go back to what to communicate. Okay, sometimes for example, quality policy. Quality policy, internal dengan interested parties can know about the quality policy, then you can communicate with them when and with whom, which are all these, because it is quality policy. Quality objective pun boleh communicate dengan semua orang. Tapi kalau results yang company A, boleh tak you bagi tahu company B result company A? Tak boleh kan? So you need to consider with whom to communicate. Results company A, communicate dengan company A. Okay, result company B, communicate dengan company B sahaja. And how to communicate? Okay, by email, by post, call, video call. Okay, so need to consider these 4 things. Okay, how, who, when and what. Right. 7.5, documented information. Previously, we are talking about the what does it mean by documented information. Now, in 7.5, what are the requirements of documented information? Bukan semata-mata ada lab report, lab manual. We have other things to consider where how you create and update the documented information. Okay, create can be both records and other than records. Updating only for other than records. Sebab records tak boleh update. So when we talk about updating only for other than records. Maintain documented information. Okay, updating is only for maintaining the documented information. Creating can be maintain documented information and retain documented information. Okay, and then how to create an update based on you need to have identification and description. For example, title, date, author, reference name. Okay, this one is for lab report. Okay, format. Lab report lainlah format dengan lab manual. Language you use. If you are working in lab, international lab, you are dealing with Japanese customer. Sometimes they do not know how to speak or read English. Okay, dia tahu yes or no saja. So, the person in charge, requirement for person in charge mungkin someone grad from Japan. Okay, so the language you use also depends on your customer. Software version, kalau GCMS 10 tahun lepas, yang GCMS baru boleh guna ke software version 10 tahun lepas? Okay, that is the format. Review and approval. Once you create the records or other than records, someone need to review and approve the documented information. If you are working in lab, you have lab manager. So lab manager will review your lab report and approve. Once approve, baru you boleh bagi dekat customer. Kalau tak lalu proses ni, you yourself as a chemist, for example, you kerja dekat lab, you sebagai chemist, you yang buat testing, tapi lab report you kena approve, review and approve by lab manager dahulu. Tak boleh you communicate terus dengan customer, no. Okay, there is a steps to do it. Next, control. Once you already create the documented information, you need to control the documented information. Okay, so how to control the documented information? You need to make sure they are available and suitable. Jangan kata bila you dah ada lab report, you dah hantar dekat customer you email ke, you post ke, boleh buang dah yang dia ni. No, you have to make them available. Let's say something happen to that lab report yang you hantar dekat customer tu, contoh post kan, tiba-tiba post laju van dia tenggelam air banjir. Sudah, mana you nak cari? So you need to make the lab report available and suitable. Okay, if they ask you for soft copy, it is suitable for soft copy. If they ask you for hard copy, suitable in hard copy. Okay, adequate protection. Okay, nowadays, if most of the company, okay, they prefer to email the results to their customer. This soft copy need adequate protection. For example, you need to put password on the PDF lab report. Tak adalah nanti kalau kena hack, orang lain boleh dapat results tu. Okay, so that is mean by adequate protection. Distribution, access, retrieval and use. So how you distribute the documented information, who can access the documented information, how to retrieve back, who can use the documented information, you need to control. If the person in charge working in lab A, this person in charge cannot use or retrieve results from lab B. It is wrong. Walaupun kerja dalam company sama, tapi that company has 4 different lab. Lab water analysis, biological lab, material lab, and then calibration lab. Calibration lab ni dia calibrate instrument. Dia tak boleh dapat results water analysis ni. Okay, that one is considered as conflict of interest. So you need to control who can distribute, how to distribute, who can access, who can use, how to retrieve back. Okay. Storage pun kena control. Nak simpan berapa lama? 5 tahun. Okay, nak simpan kat mana? Kalau hard copy, simpan dekat store. 5 tahun kemudian you pergi dah hancur. Kena makan dengan anai-anai. So storage pun kena consider. Preservation, legibility, version control. Okay, version control ni for example, ISO 9001 standard. We have version 2008 and 2015. How you control that version so that new person in charge do not use the outdated version. Okay, you guys guna lab manual kan untuk lab. Kita ada banyak version where we keep updating based on industry need. Okay, some of outdated experiment kita dah keluarkan, kita buat version baru, lab manual baru. How we control this version to not let the new students use the previous version. And how they retain and dispose the outdated version, outdated documented information, that one also need to be controlled. So now we will start with chapter 3. Okay, as I mentioned, chapter 3 only focus on clause 8, operation. So any requirements here, you need to imagine that we are dealing with operations in the lab. Okay, subclause 8.1 is talking about operational planning and control. So again, any clause, any process, we are going to start with planning. Okay, so remember PDCA, we start with plan. Same goes to operation, same goes to changes. Okay, even you want to do some changes, you need to plan. So same goes to operational. Okay, operation, you want to operate your laboratory, start with planning. Once you have proper planning, then you need to control them. So the keywords here is planning and control for subclass 8.1. So what are the requirements? First, of course, you need to determine the requirements for product and service. What is your product and service? What are the requirements? What are the raw materials? Who are going to do the how many person in charge to operate the process in order to get the product or in order to give services to your customers. Okay, determine. Okay, how to determine depends. Depends on the company. They can have a management review meeting to determine the requirements. Okay, they know their product and services better, so they need to determine the requirements. Okay, establishing criteria for the processes and acceptance of product or service. Okay, so establish, already determined, then you need to establish the criteria of the process and also how these product or services can be accepted by customer. So list down the criteria of the process. Okay, this one. And also, once you determine the criteria of process, you also need to establish criteria of customer acceptance. of your product and services. What are the criteria that customer want from your product? What are the criteria that when you supply the service, when you give a service, customer can accept your service? Okay, then after you have determined the requirements, established criteria, you need to determine the resources, okay, needed to fulfill the requirements. Okay, you have determined the requirements. You have all the criterias. Now determine the resources. So now you need to go back to clause 7. Okay, clause 7, which is support. And then we have subclause that talking about the 7 resources. Okay, so all the clause in ISO 9001 are connected to each other. They cannot stand alone. So if you are certified with 9001, you cannot choose, okay, I'm going to fulfill only class 1 and 6 because it is very easy to fulfill. No. Okay, class 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 and 10 are connected to each other. When you are talking about operational planning, you want to operate your laboratory, you need to determine the requirements and how to fulfill the requirements. You need to establish criteria. Once you have criteria, then you need to determine the resources. Without resources, you cannot operate your lab. Okay, remember resources, one of them is building. Takkan you nak buat eksperimen dekat tengah padang? Tak mungkin lah. So you need a proper building. Proper buildings means when you are operating laboratory, kena ada fume hood, kena ada ventilation. Okay, so that's mean by determining the resources needed. Okay, going back to clause 7. So they are connected to each other. Okay, remember we have clause 5 leadership. So leadership will control all the clauses to make sure everyone involved fulfill each of the clause requirements. Okay. And then implementing control. So how to control all the resources? Okay, remember under resources clause, one of the requirements is to monitor, okay, and measure the performance. So implementing control here is monitoring and measure the performance of the resources. Okay, you need to control all the requirements, the criteria, make sure the resources needed can fulfill the criteria and requirements of the product and services. Okay, once you control them, you control the performance of all the resources. Now you already fulfill requirements of subclause 8.1. But remember, we have another requirements which is retaining documented information. Retain documented information are, remember, if retaining, it is records. Maintaining, other than records. So what are records that you can have from this subclause 8.1? Any idea? Anyone? You need to have records. And then these records will be the proof or objective evidence to the auditor that you already fulfill this clause 8.1. So again, you need to go one by one. Determining requirements for the product and service. How you determine? If you have meetings, then the minute of meetings is the records. Okay, establishing criteria means that you are going to list down. So the list is the records. Determining the resources needed, and then you need to implement the control of all the resources. So the records will be performance report of the resources. Okay, and then resources, if you have person in charge as the resources, okay, then how you control your person in charge. Okay, that one will be under records. So these are connected to resources, the documented information. So this one, it can be the same records to fulfill the requirements of subclass 8.1. Remember last time we are talking about training. So the records will be training certificate or training attendance. So that one not only used as a proof to that clause, you can also use to this clause because we are talking about resources here. So one of the resources is person in charge or personnel. Okay, so this personnel, how you control them? You provide training. So the training certificate can be one of the records here. Okay. Next, 8.2, requirements for products and services. So you need to know how, what are the requirements and how to fulfill these requirements. So it is for products and services. Lab, we not only synthesis new materials. For example, if you are working in kilang sabun lah, kilang sabun ke kilang shampoo ke, and then this factory has a laboratory. Okay, this lab will produce new shampoo formulation, okay, in lab scale, and then the factory will upscale the products. Okay, that is products. But we also have lab that provide services such as water analysis lab. So they provide service for water analysis for any industries that want to check the quality of their the quantity of toxic compounds in their wastewater. Okay, the quality of if the factory provide mineral water. So water analysis can also analyze the quality of that mineral water. So that is services. Okay. And then what are the requirements for products and services? Okay, we have another subclass under subclass 8.2, which is 8.2.1, customer communications. You need to communicate with your customer about the product and service information. Okay, communicate with your customer. And then how to communicate, instead of asking about the information, you can also have a contract with them. Okay, communicate via contract. Okay, we have these services, and then we will deliver the report within 2 weeks. So that one also can be in the contract. Okay, order handling, charges, inquiries, invoice. Okay, customer views, perceptions and complaints, also one of the communication between your laboratory with the customer. What is the customer views about your product, about your services? Okay, and then what are their perceptions? Because from these perceptions, you can improve your products and services in order to gain more customers. Okay, and of course, tak semua orang suka dengan kita, right? So there will be also customer complaints. Okay, tak semestinya tak suka. Kadang customer complaints ni memang produk you ada something wrong lah. Okay, maybe last time they buy the shampoo, dia boleh dan dia bagi banyak buih. Tiba-tiba next month dia beli, dia tak sama dah macam yang sebelum ni. It can be one of the customer complaints. It's not only that customer doesn't like you. Okay, tak semestinya. Complaints ni mungkin boleh guna juga untuk improvement. Alright. So that is another example of customer communication. Okay, how customer complains to you, how customer, what is customer views about your product and services. Okay, and then handling or treatment of customer property. Okay, this one usually for services. And the common services where your laboratory handle customer property is calibration lab. Okay, calibration lab, where your lab provide calibration for customer equipment. Okay, ada industri yang memang dia buat calibration sendiri. Ada industri yang dia tak ada kepakaran untuk buat calibration, then they will send their equipment to calibration lab, okay, calibration services company. So one of the example is calibration lab. Okay, so customer will send their equipment to your lab, okay, for you to conduct the calibration for their equipment. So this handling of customer property is one of customer communication with you. Okay, you also need to communicate with the customer how you are going to handle their equipment or any property other than equipment lah. Equipment ni example yang mudah untuk you nampak. Lagi-lagi kalau kita bekerja dekat lab. Okay. Next, specific requirements for contingency actions. Okay, contingency, anything that is out of the scope. Okay, tiba-tiba jadi. So you kena prepare specific requirements for the contingency actions. Okay, and then 8.2.2, after you know what should be communicate with your customer, how to communicate, you need to determine the requirements. Establish, implement and maintain the process to produce your products or process to provide the services. Okay. Define product and service requirements. Okay, this is very straightforward. I already explained to you in 8.1. Define applicable statutory and regulatory requirements. This one, we are talking about law. Okay, kalau handling chemicals, Chemist Act. We have Chemist Act, Akta Kimia Kebangsaan. That one is one of the example. We have regulatory on environment. Okay, that one kita ada law that you have to fulfill the regulatory about environment, because if you are working in chemical lab, of course there will be chemical waste. So how to handle that chemical waste in order to make sure they will not affect the environment. So you need to follow the environment regulatory requirements. Okay, so define what are the statutory and regulatory requirements applicable to your products and services. And the last one, ability to meet the defined requirements and substantiate the claims. Okay, so you need to meet all the requirements. 8.2.3, review of requirements. So you already have the requirements from your customer. Okay, you already have the requirements of your products and services. You need to review them in order to do the improvement. For example, One of them by customers, including delivery and post-delivery activities. Okay, so the requirement by your customers, or if it is not stated by the customer, but it is necessary for you to specify or intended use, you need to review as well. And you need to review the requirements from the statutory and regulatory if there is any changes. So you have to improve your product and services based on the statutory and regulatory requirements. And the last one, contract or order requirements. This one also by the customer. Any changes on the contract, you need to review, and if needed, you need to improve your contract and order requirements. Okay. Design and development of products and services. This one, we are not going to focus. We are not going to go in very deep for this one because design and development is not going to happen in the lab. Okay, biasanya design ni kita design machine. Design machine untuk product and services, bukan design products and services lah. If their product, if the company producing product such as equipment or machine, design kat situ lah. Kalau kat lab tak adalah. Kalau design ni biasanya kita nak design lab. Apa yang patut ada dekat lab tu, ada fume hood, berapa luas lab, itu design. So for your scope, you are not going to design a lab. Okay, so we are not going to focus we are not going very deep into this clause 8.3. But for your information, under clause 8.3, we have 8.3.1, which is clarification of the application of design and development. Okay, clarify and apply the design and development requirements. And then of course, after you already define the requirements, then you need a proper planning. Okay, 8.3.3, after you have planning, to start, we need inputs. Okay, 8.3.4, after you have inputs, then you need to control them. How to control? You need to do reviews, verification and validation. So this reviews, verification and validation memang berkait rapat sangat dengan machine lah. Okay, but then it can also be applied to others. Yang senang nak nampak kalau saya bagi contoh adalah machine. When you want to design and develop a new machine to any company. For example, if you are working with company that provide GCMS, so they are going to design and develop the GCMS for your laboratory. Okay, tapi lab you tak adalah need to fulfill this 8.3. Okay, and then 8.3.5, when you have inputs, of course, you will have outputs. And 8.3.6 changes going back to clause that are talking about planning for changes. Okay. 8.4, control of externally provided processes, products, and services. Before we are going to look at the requirements, first you need to understand what does it mean by externally provided process, products, and services. Okay, that one I'm going to ask you guys, what do you understand by the word externally provided process, products, and services? Please use the meeting chat to give your answer, or you can unmute your microphone. Anyone? If there is no answer, I'm going to call name.
Doctor,
Yes.
is it like externally provided process? We do it using outsourced.
Outsource what? Koshila?
Like hello.
Not clear. Bising sikit.
Sorry.
Okay. Or you can just type on the meeting chat.
Okay, doctor.
Alright. Okay, what about others? While waiting for Coach Sheila, give me one example. So, adakah you guys faham apa yang saya cerita sebelum-sebelum tu? Or you just hear what I'm saying but you didn't get the idea? Hello, guys? Anyone?
Doctor,
Yes?
maybe it's just like if a company who use this control externally provide processes, it will like provide directly to the customer by what the customer needs and wants, and by the external provider on behalf of the organization. But I'm not very sure about the example.
Okay. Right, good try. Thank you very much. Pao Feng Kian.
Yes.
Right, I'm still waiting for Coach Sheila. Nur Amira Akilah, organisation yang supply material or services. Dino, example information regarding the chemicals or raw materials from the supplier. Amira buat tambah, maybe doktor. Okay, it's okay. Thank you, good try. Okay, and your answer is correct, Amira Akilah. Okay, so Pao Feng Kian also correct. Okay, we are not only talking about suppliers, but we're also talking about other company that can provide the services, outsource. Okay. Coach Sheila, like if we need to get a result of sample, but we do it using external sources to fulfill it. Okay, thank you very much. Dino, I think that your answer similar to Nur Amira Akila. Thank you very much. Okay. So let's go to this one. Since you already understand what does it mean by externally provided processes, products and services, okay. We have here supplier as being written by Nur Amira Akilah and Dino. Okay, supplier is one of the external provider. Okay, it provide you with raw materials, with equipment. You buy equipment from supplier, right? And then we have another one, associate company, okay, and outsource. Okay, so this one, associate company and outsource, they can, for example, if your customer, okay, ask you to analyze or to test their sample, okay, to get the results, you might need 5 testing or 5 equipments involved. For example, in your you guys tak nampak ikut sebab belum buat FYP kan. Okay. Tapi one of the project will need 4 or 5 results from different equipments to support your final the project. Okay. let's say you need to use FTIR, you also need to use UV, we have FISAM for surface analysis, we also have EDX, semua kita ada banyak equipment ataupun instrument dekat lab. Okay, for example, this customer ask you to do testing for their sample and you need to use 5 equipment or instrument to get the results. Okay, but however, your lab only have 3 instrument that can give the results but didn't fulfill the requirements by the customers. Okay, they need 5. Another 2, you can outsource to another company or another or associate company to do the testing using another 2 equipment. So they are external provider. Okay, external provider not only on the raw materials but anything involved during the process to produce the product and also to provide the services. Okay, I hope you're clear on that. And the requirements for this supplier, associate company and outsource, you need to follow the subclause 8.4.1. Select and evaluate. Okay, so based on ISO 9001, you cannot simply and that supplier is my old friend, so I'm going to deal with him to supply our raw materials. No. You cannot do something like that. That one we call as conflict of interest. So how to do it properly according to ISO 9001 to avoid conflict of interest or to avoid any problem in future, you need to select and evaluate. Okay, so how to select and evaluate? You need to get the information from the external provider. Okay, get their information. You at least paling minimum 3 orang, 3 supplier, 3 associate company or 3 outsource, different outsource. Okay, get their information and then during the evaluation, you need to list down the criteria that you want. Once you have the criteria, you compare to the information from the external provider, then you need to decide which supplier, which associate company is best that to handle the external the process or anything that you want that you don't have in your company but you want to outsource the problems. Okay, so decide one, then you need to evaluate them as well as to verify the activities provided by this outsource. Okay, so we have 8.4.1, select and evaluate, then 8.4.2 verification activities where you verify their activities. Okay, one of the information that is very important from this external provider is the external providers should be certified with ISO 9001 as well. You tak boleh simply outsource macam tu je. You need to have the information and one of the most important information, they themselves has to be certified with ISO 9001. So that you know they will provide a quality processes, products and services. Okay, once they are certified with ISO 9001, you tak perlu risau dah. Means that they also use and fulfill the requirements of clause 4 until 10. Okay, but even though they are certified with ISO 9001, you still have to verify their activities. Okay, so this one you need to do it, okay, based on the on their activities during the process to produce the products and services. Okay, and then of course each of the subclause you need to have evidence, which is either maintain or retain the documented information. Okay, so 8.5, the requirement is on production and service provision. Okay, so 8.5.1 is the control of production and service provision. How you control your provision. If you want to buy any raw materials, if you want to provide services to your customer, how you control the provision. Okay, I'm giving you the example. If you want to purchase raw material, okay, like 20,000 ringgit from the supplier, how to control the provision of that raw materials. The first thing that we need to do in UMP, because we involved in research and we need raw material for our research, we have to find few suppliers, okay, and ask them to provide quotation. And we are going to look at which supplier can comply with our requirement. Kita ada banyak requirement. Contoh, saya nak 95% purity of methanol or 97 purity of polymer, any polymer. Okay, so if all the suppliers can comply with the requirement just now, the characteristics of our raw materials, next we look at the price. Which supplier can provide the lowest price for all the raw materials, and that is how you control the provision. Okay, so if you are the one who provide the service or product to your customer, how you control the provision? Okay, so think about it. And 8.5.2, identification and traceability. Okay, so for identification and traceability, if you provide product or service to your customer, how you give the identity to your product and service. Okay, sometimes we can use code number. Okay, code number ni, for example, if you go to library, kalau you nak cari buku, you kena tengok coding number tu kan? Betul tak? Saya tak pernah pergi library UMP. Cik. Siapa pernah pergi? Perasan tak ada coding number tu?
Dah pernah.
That one is apa?
Saya pernah pergi.
Pernah nampak tak? Ke tak perasan pun? Pergi untuk guna internet je.
Tak perasan.
You supposed to look at the identification of numbering. Setiap rak tu ada identity dia, ada numbering dia. So that one is identification. So that you can trace where is the book that you want from the system. You don't have to spend 2 to 3 hours to find that book. Using the system, you can identify your book and do the traceability by looking at the coding number. Okay, coding, dia guna coding ke, dia guna numbering ke, ataupun dia guna, depends on the department. Okay, same goes to product and service provision. In the lab, if you receive sample from your customer, you have to give the identity number for that sample. So that the traceability is when your customer call and ask, what is the stages of my sample right now? Is it still on the at the counter or already going through the experiment? Kalau dah masuk eksperimen sampai eksperimen berapa dah? Saya minta hari tu 10 eksperimen. So dah sampai eksperimen mana? So that identification, when you key in system, if your customer call and ask for the progress of their sample, you can trace that sample. Dah sampai dekat lab mana? Dah sampai eksperimen berapa? Okay, that one is identification and traceability. 8.5.3, property belonging to customers or external providers. This one is similar to the previous topic that we discussed last time. Okay, so how you control, how you take care of the property belong to your customers. This one usually for calibration lab. When your customers send their equipment or apparatus to your lab and ask you to do calibration. Okay, or sometimes for a big industry, they send their equipment for maintenance. Okay, that one is the property belong to the industry, and the service provider need to follow the requirement from ISO 9001 on 8.5.3. Okay, 8.5.4, preservation, depends on your products or what service you provide to your customers. Okay, how you preserve them. Okay, and then 8.5.5, post-delivery activities. Post-delivery activities means that after you have finished the services or you already deliver the product to your customer, what are the requirement for post-delivery activities? One of them is to provide feedback form to your customer. Okay, ask for their satisfaction, whether they satisfied with your service and product, whether they satisfied with your delivery activities. Okay, kalau dia kalau sebelum ni you guna post, kita ada banyak jenis delivery service in Malaysia. So kalau dulu guna post laju yang tak berapa laju lah. So sekarang dah ada banyak. CNT, ada Ninja Van. Okay, so which one that they satisfied with? Okay, the previous one or the current one? So that one is one of the post-delivery activities. Getting feedback from your customers. And the last one is 8.5.6, control of any changes under production and service provision. Going back to 8.1.5.1, the service provision just now. Let's say if you want to change your suppliers. Last time you have 10 suppliers and then 2 of them cannot fulfill, cannot comply with your requirement. You want to change supplier, that one you need to control. Okay, and this 8.5.6 going back to connected with the previous clause. Okay, changes. Look back to the previous clause where how we control.
Doctor, you are muted just now. You are in mute. Is it on
Tak
delay?
dengar doktor.
Your mic is muted right now.
Sejak bila you tak dengar? Kenapa
Baru
dia
je.
mute?
Just now.
Oh,
Yeah, recently.
okay. Sorry. 8.5 tadi sampai dekat 8.5.6 or yang mana? Yang you tak dengar yang mana?
Tadi ayat last yang 8.5.6 tu lah yang tiba-tiba hilang. Lepas tu doktor dah masuk apa?
Oh,
8.6 tu.
okay.
Okay,
Thank you. Saya tak tahu macam mana boleh mute saya sebab saya slide saya buat slideshow. So saya tak ada button nak unmute ke mute ke. Saya tak tahu macam mana dia boleh mute sendiri. Okay. Going to check again. Alright. So the last one is 8.5.6. As we discussed before, any changes happen from 8.5.1 until 8.5.5, you need to control them. Okay, so for example, if you are controlling the suppliers, how you control your suppliers? If you want to change your suppliers, what are the requirements for changes? Any effect if you want to change your suppliers. Okay. And 8.6, clause 8.6 in your ISO 9001, release of products and services. Once you're done with the QC, quality control with your products, everything's fine. It fulfill all the requirements, and also for services, you already finish with the services, with the report, and you want to release them to your customers. So what you need to do is to plan the arrangement. When to deliver to your customer, how to deliver to your customer. Okay, for example, product. If you're providing cooking oil. Okay, cooking oil, you provide cooking oil, your factory provide cooking oil to supermarket. Okay, so plan how you want to transport the products to your customer. Okay, and then when to deliver. Who are going to receive the products? That one is under plan arrangement. Okay, ready with the delivery order, DO. Okay, DO ni dia macam dia akan datang sekali dengan invoice lah. Okay, that one also under plan arrangement. Who are going to deliver? Who are going to be the driver of the lorry? Okay, that one is under plan arrangement. And verification, verify, okay, whether, for example, just now cooking oil, you want to transport 100 bottle of cooking oil. So verify whether it is exactly 100 bottles ataupun berkurang ataupun terlebih, itu kena verify. Verify siapa yang hari tu dah assign Arsyad nak pergi hantar cooking oil ni dekat supermarket. Tapi check betul ke Arsyad ni. Sekali Daniel guna kad Arsyad, tak boleh lah. So verify. Verify whether the delivery man already have the invoice and delivery order to provide to the customers or not. Okay, and then verify the license of lorry. Okay, update ke tak, yang terbaru ke tak, ke dah tamat tempoh, nanti sampai tengah jalan kena tahan JPJ. Okay, so that is verification. And then met requirements. So this one is very general. Met requirements, all the things that I said just now, whether they meet requirements or not. Okay, and then next, complete everything, plan arrangement, verification, met requirements, and everything is completed. Now you can release the product or report or services to your customers. Okay, so any question on 8.6? Okay, if no, now we are moving on to 8.7, which is control of non-conforming outputs. So last time you already heard about non-conforming, okay, NC, non-conforming, which means that anything that didn't fulfill the requirement of ISO 9001, non-conforming outputs. So how to control? Yes, we know that no one perfect. So there must be non-conforming outputs at the end. Kalau tak banyak, sikit mesti ada. Okay, so how to control? So that you still fulfill the requirement of ISO 9001. So 8.7.1 is on the correction, doing correction on that non-conforming outputs. For example, if you provide a lab analysis to your customer, and then from the customer feedback, your customer complain that the calculation on the mean and standard deviation is wrong. So that is non-conforming. Mungkin you salah key in data, you salah key in nombor. Satu nombor pun dah terjejas semua. So that is non-conforming outputs. So what to do is 8.7.1, you can do correction. Okay, call your customer and ask them to give back the report so that you can do correction. Okay, obtain authorization for acceptance under concession. So you need to get authorization. Tak boleh you and your customer only communicate, tak apa, you ubah je, you liquid je yang salah tu. No, you need to get the authorization for acceptance under concession. Means that they have to deliver the report back to you. That one is under concession. Okay, kita kira belum complete lagi lah sebab you panggil balik, you call back for that report. Okay, and of course you need to inform your customer. If that one come from your customer, so you need to inform your customer regarding the acceptance under concession, the process, okay, who are going to pay for that delivery from your customer to you. That one is informing your customer. If let's say your customer didn't realize on the non-conforming outputs, if you are the one who realize, you need to inform your customer and the process will be the same. Okay, segregation, containment, return or suspension, yang ni pun saya dah cover. Okay, and 8.7.2, non-conforming, after you have done the correction, now you already confirm with the requirements. So then identify the authority who are going to verify whether it is confirmed or not. Concession obtained, then what is the next action? Are you going to deliver to your customer or your customer yang akan datang ambil report tu sebab dia takut jadi balik benda yang sama? Who are going to deliver the reports? That one is under actions taken. Okay, or and that one is only one example. There are so many examples. And we also have action. How you are going to do the correction on that reports. That one is also under action taken. Print report baru ke? Ataupun liquid macam tadi? That one saya dah cerita masa in chapter 1 or 2, I'm not sure. But that is action taken for doing correction on reports. Okay? And that is on chapter 3. Any question? For new intake, I'm going to share the recording from previous, so you need to go through from chapter 1 until the early topics in chapter 3, and then you can go back to this recording in order for you to understand better. Okay? So if there is no question, let's move on to next chapter. Okay, chapter 4. This chapter 4 cover clause 9 and 10 in ISO 9001. Okay, performance evaluation is on chapter clause 9 and improvement is on clause 10. Okay, 9.1, monitoring, measuring, analysis and evaluation. So what you need to do under performance evaluation, first is to monitor. Okay, you cannot expect your employee, your lab assistant, or you yourself can perform well in the very beginning of your job. Okay, maksudnya you baru je habis, you baru graduate, join lab ni, lab pula certified with ISO 9001. The lab manager or the owner of the lab, they cannot expect you to have good experience the first day you start working. So they have to monitor. From the first day, they provide training to you, and what is your performance after 6 months. That one is monitoring. And then measurements mean how they measure your performance. Okay, they give training, and then how they measure. Okay, looking at your technical skills of handling pH meter. The first day you start working in that lab, nak tekan button mana pula tahu pH meter. Padahal dah belajar dah kat UMP. Mungkin banyak sangat rehat, gap antara graduate dengan convo dengan start kerja ni, tak ingat dah butang mana. So looking back at the first day you work, and then after 6 month training, okay, how they measure? They are going to look on the results of pH meter, okay, and then compare and do the analysis using statistical analysis. For example, compare the standard deviation from your technical skill the first day and after 6 months. That is how they do analysis. Evaluate whether you still need further training or you already achieved the KPI and you are now can be mentor to the newcomers. Something like that. Okay, that is under 9.1. Okay. In general, what need to be monitored and measured? Just now, I give you the example of employee, personnel. Okay, in industry, we call employee as personnel. Okay, so what need to be monitored and measured just now is one of them, one example, personnel. We can also monitor and measure our equipment performance. Okay, if we have student baru tak pernah lagi jumpa GC, okay, gas chromatography. But in class yesterday, I told you that we have high-tech equipment in UMP, in FIS. Okay, so that equipment can also be monitored and measured their performance. After a long time use, okay, what is the performance of our equipment? So need to identify what need to be monitored and measured. You can also monitor the environment of the lab. Okay, if your sample need to be at 20 degrees Celsius temperature, so you need to monitor and measure the temperature in the lab. Okay, so how to maintain 20 degrees Celsius, and what are the methods you use to monitor and measure? If you are monitoring the temperature, so the method is by using thermometer. Okay, if you are monitoring the titration experiment, okay, what are the methods that you need to use? Depends on the apparatus. Okay, and then when you want to monitor and measure the performance, if let's say personnel, employee, after 6 months of training, high-tech equipment depends on the manual of the equipment. Some equipment after 1 year you have to monitor and measure their performance. Some equipment twice a year, so depends. Okay, and when the results shall be analyzed and evaluated based on when you do the monitoring and measuring. Okay, and for this 9.1, you need to retain the documented information. So for the new students, you might confuse what does it mean by retain documented information. That one is in chapter 1. So you need to go through the recording later on. Okay. Evaluate quality and performance and effectiveness of quality management system. Yes, when you monitoring when you fulfilling 9.1 clause, you need to evaluate the quality, performance and effectiveness towards quality management system. Tak boleh shock sendiri. You rasa macam, oh, performance dah okay, tapi sebenarnya tak efektif untuk quality management system. Right? 9.1.2 is customer satisfaction. So this is based on customer satisfaction. When you want to monitoring, measuring, analysis and evaluation, okay, you evaluate your employee or your equipment, you think that it is already good. But looking back at the customer satisfaction, what are their perceptions? Do you need to do any improvement on your equipment or on the technical skill of your employee? So can also based on customer satisfaction. Okay, how to monitor? You need to obtain their views and opinion based on the feedback form. Okay, so method used to obtain the information. Okay, I give you just now one example, customer feedback, but we also have customer survey, data, market share analysis, compliments, etc. Okay, 9.1.3 is analysis and evaluation. So how the results of analysis can be evaluated. One of them is looking at the conformity of product and service. Okay, let's say if you want to if you if the customer require you to finish the experiment or the testing for their sample in 2 weeks time. Okay, check whether it confirm with your customer or not. Okay, customer's requirement or not. Or sometimes whether it confirm with the requirement of ISO 9001. Okay, that is conformity of product and service. Degree of customer satisfaction. Okay, analyze your customer feedback. Whether from 200 customers, when you do the analysis of their feedback, and analyze the degree of customer satisfaction. Adakah daripada 200 orang tu, seorang je yang tak puas hati. So, calculate the percentage. 1/200. Okay? 200 minus 1/200 times 100%. So, what is the degree of customer satisfaction? By the time, masa mula-mula you release the product, look at the degree of customer satisfaction, you get 50% customer satisfaction on your product. And then you do improvement after 1 year or 2 years of providing the same product to your customer and do the improvement, you look at the degree of customer satisfaction again. Okay, do analysis on the customer feedback. From 50% of customer satisfaction, now you might get 90% because you already do the improvement, you already know your customer requirement, okay, and you fulfilling their requirements, then the degree of customer satisfaction will increase. Okay. And others, planning, effectiveness, okay, performance of external providers need for improvement or not. Okay, that one is under 9.1.3. So most of them kita dah cover lah during chapter 1 until 3. Okay. 9.2 is internal audit. Okay, last time saya dah ada sebut audit. Nanti auditor datang. Okay. So that auditor, external auditor, that one is external audit. Okay, external audit. For example, last time I give you example of Apple. They audit their supplier. That one is external audit. Okay, 9.2, we are talking about internal audit. Internal audit means that we are doing audit in our own organization or our own lab. Okay, but we cannot do it ourselves. We have to assign someone outside from our laboratory to do audit for our lab. Okay, so audit ni dia akan tengok lah you fulfill tak requirement from class 4 until 10. Okay, and then for internal audit, you need to identify the frequency of internal audit. If let's say external audit is once a year, internal audit you nak buat sekali juga ke ataupun 2 kali for your satisfaction. Okay, so that you can decrease the non-conformity from external auditor. Internal audit, kalau ada non-conformity, you boleh baiki lagi sebelum audit sebenar. Okay, kalau you dapat non-conformity during the external audit, yang tu you akan susah lah. Okay, sebab macam saya bagi tahu sebelum ni, 3 major non-conformity from external audit, your certificate will be withdrawn. Okay, so frequency identify. Usually, we do internal audit twice a year before the external audit. Okay, so that when we found non-conformity, minor ke major ke, kita dah boleh buat correction before the external audit. Methods, how to conduct the internal audit. How many auditor from other lab, for example, in FIS, we have 4 labs, analytical, organic, inorganic and physical. Okay, ini example Okay, 4. So if your lab, organic chemistry, they want to conduct internal audit. So they need to identify who are going to be the auditor. Then the auditor must come from the other 3 laboratory, not your own lab assistant, not you yourself. Okay, the auditor must come from other department in your organisation. Okay, method, how to conduct. Okay, how to conduct, that one you need to identify. Okay, ada orang buat secara on-site audit. On-site, pergi check dokumen satu-satu. Ada yang buat off-site, which is online. That one is method. Responsibilities, who are going to be responsible in this internal audit? For your own lab, you're responsible to identify the frequency of internal audit. And then for auditors coming from other lab, their responsibility is to conduct to do the internal audit, to audit your laboratory. That one you need to identify the responsibilities of each personnel involved. Okay. Planning requirements. Okay. What are the requirements for your internal audit? You want to reduce the non-conformity or you want to do improvement? That one depends on your own lab. Okay. So nanti kalau saya bagi soalan, biasanya saya akan bagi situasi. Okay. In that situation, you need to identify what are the planning. Okay. So biasanya kalau you baca straightforward, memang akan nampak lah. Nanti kita akan tengok contoh soalan. And last one, you need to do reporting. After internal audit finish, all the auditor need to come up with reports of audit, of internal audit. What are their findings? And that one is under reporting. So for this internal audit, you are required to retain the documented information. So one of the documented information for internal audit is the internal audit report. Okay. Correction and corrective action. What are the correction needed from the internal audit results? And what are the corrective action that you need to do before the external audit take place? Okay. And report to the management. Any results from the internal audit, jangan pula, oh banyaknya NC kita masa internal audit ni. Tak apalah, tak payah bagi tahulah kita buat correction sendiri-sendiri je. No. Okay, any results from the internal audit, you need to report to the management, even though there are so many non-conformities. Okay. 9.3, management review. So here, management review is where you report your internal audit, for example, okay, but not limited to that. So what are the input for management review? 9.3.2, you can update the status of action that you take when you have non-conformity, you take action, you do correction, that one is status of action. Dah siap sampai mana? Okay, if you do the risk matrix, and then you identify which risk that you need to solve first, and what is the status during the management review. Sampai management review meeting, dah siap sampai mana action that you have take place. Okay, next, any changes in internal and external issues, you need to report during the management review meeting as well. Adequacy of resources. Okay, if you have any limited resources that you already identify, tak cukup staff, tak cukup equipment, tak cukup space untuk letak equipment, that one is adequacy of resources, so you need to report during management review. Effectiveness of action to address risk. Okay, this one going back to status of action just now. So effectiveness, whether it is effective or not. You already done 70% of the action. You already take action to address the risk, 70%, but what is the effectiveness? Okay, also need to report during management review. And also opportunities for continuous improvement. Is there any opportunities for continuous improvement? Okay, need to also report during management review. That one is also management review inputs. And the last one is on quality performance. Okay, what are the criteria of quality performance that you need to report during management review? It include the quality objective achievement. If you have 3 quality objective, what is the degree of achievement right until the management review meeting? Okay, process performance and conformity of your products and services. It's also under quality performance. Non-conformity and corrective action. Even though you have so many non-conformities, what are the corrective action is the most important part. Okay, and then monitoring and measuring results, audit results, process performance of external providers, and also customer satisfaction. That one is under quality performance. And that 6 things is under management review inputs. Okay, and then during the management review meeting, you have all the inputs. Of course, we will have outputs. What are the decision and action related to just now? Adequacy of resources. So you already do the meeting, discuss, and what are the resources needed? Decide. Tak semua kita boleh fulfill dalam satu masa. Mungkin tahun ni bajet tak cukup. So what are the most important resources needed? So decide, do the decision. Okay, any need for changes? Okay, from the 6 inputs, what are the changes need to be done to fulfill the requirement of 9.3.2? And any opportunities of improvement, you need to decide. Okay, from the opportunities for continuous improvement inputs. And from this management review, you need to retain documented information. Okay, so from this management review meeting, give me what are the documented information that you can retain. Lama sangat dah saya bercakap seorang. Kang ada yang tidur? Ke ada yang tengah makan? Okay, unmute your microphone and share with us what are the possible documented information from management review that you can retain. Anyone? Ada yang left dah?
How about the audit result, Doctor?
Audit results? That one is 9 point yang sebelum tu, under internal audit.
9.3.3. Okay.
This one, you already bring the internal audit report to the management review meeting. And after that, what are the possible documented information that we can get from management review meeting? Panggil nama ni best juga ni. Asrul ada ke? Dia tak jawab tu. Firdaus, Arsyad, geng-geng King ni. King dah masuk ke belum? Oh, dah ada. Sharvin Bala, give me the example. Saya nak tanya student baru pun, mungkin dia tak faham lagi apa itu documented information. So I'm going to ask your seniors.
Boleh ulang soalan tak, Doktor?
Saya nak contoh documented information yang you boleh retain daripada management review meeting.
Minit mesyuarat.
Betul, terima kasih. Tu Faziana ke Angie?
Angie.
Terima kasih. Yes, minute of meeting. That one is documented information that you can retain. You tak boleh edit kan? Tak boleh update. Minute of meeting. Lagi? Kalau auditor datang, dia nak tahu betul tak you buat management review? Betul. Dah ada minute of meeting. Lagi apa yang, dokumen yang penting daripada daripada review, management review meeting? Okay, Rahman.
Macam doktor.
Receipt.
Apa tu?
Receipt belian.
Resit belian, dia boleh masuk bawah minute of meeting. Okay. Tadi siapa Angie ke Yana?
Angie.
Angie lagi. Okay Angie, bagi jawapan you kat Yana lah biar dia pula bercakap.
Tapi saya pun tak pasti betul ke tak.
Okay. So what is it?
Kalau macam doktor sebelum ni dia kata macam kalau kita dah buat benda tu and kita nak buktikan yang kita sampaikan dekat employee, kita tampal macam poster dekat like every department macam tu. And they adhere to this.
So that one is result of meeting ke apa?
Kan sebab doktor kata macam mana yang kita tahu yang benda tu sampai ataupun boleh buktikan benda tu sampai dekat pekerja kan. So tapi saya tak tahu benda tu panggil apa.
Itu minute of meeting tu kita communicate dengan employee lah. Maksudnya kita dah ada minute of meeting, kita bagi distribute to our employee, then that one is method of communication. Okay, so the most important thing for management review meeting instead of minute of meeting is the attendance. Betapa pentingnya attendance ni, ISO 9001 required that as a written documented information. So attendance, siapa yang datang, siapa yang selalu tak datang, 3 kali berturut-turut tak join management review meeting, that one is non-conformity. So there will be committee of management, president, siapa lagi, lab manager, siapa yang terlibat lah. Yang ni management kena identify siapa yang perlu hadir. Sama juga dekat fees, kita ada macam-macam mesyuarat, tapi setiap mesyuarat tu kita dah identify siapa yang perlu hadir. So the attendance is very important. If you absent 3 times from the management review meeting, then it is a non-conformity. So attendance is one of the written documented information. Okay, so any question before we proceed?
No question, doctor.
Thank you. Okay, next we move on to clause 10 and we start with 10.2, non-conformity and corrective action. Again, we are talking about non-conformity and corrective action, but now it is very specific. Okay, so what are the requirements for non-conformity and corrective action? First, how you react to the non-conformity. What are the action that you take to control and correct the non-conformity? And how you deal with the consequences. Okay, non-conformity is not wrong. Okay, bukanlah satu kesalahan besar, but how you react to non-conformity is the requirement from ISO 9001. So ada orang takut bila ada certified with 9001, bila auditor datang dia takut sebab dia rasa dia banyak sangat non-conformity. But actually how you react to that non-conformity yang kita tengok. Macam you guys lah, you dah usaha macam-macam dah nak jawab soalan, tapi tak berjaya. Kita tengok pada usaha, bukan pada results. Macam tu. Okay. And then evaluate the need for action. How you come up with the action and evaluate the needs. Okay. Review of the non-conformity, determine the causes, root cause, determine if any similar non-conformities exist. If you found the non-conformity in lab A, is it similar non-conformity will exist in lab B, lab C? Okay, so evaluate the need for action. If it's the non-conformity already exists in lab A, you found that non-conformity, do corrective action. if you determine that similar non-conformity might occur in lab B, C and D, come up with the preventive action before that non-conformity occur in other labs. Okay. Implement the action needed. Okay. For example, non-conformity. Okay, just now, one of the non-conformity is absent during management review meeting. So what are the action needed? To make sure this personnel hadirlah masa management review meeting. Kalau you guys, apa yang you buat? How to take action to this guy who always missing during management review meeting? Ataupun you buat assignment lah, kita ambil contoh senang. You buat assignment, ada group member, sekarang 4 kan? Nanti kita bincang pasal assignment balik. Okay, ada 4 orang yang Mamat ni selalu hilang. Setiap kali kita ada meeting untuk assignment, dia tak datang. Ataupun dia datang lambat. Okay, what are the necessary action that you are going to do to make sure this guy datang on time and dan selalu datang?
Ceramah dia.
Ceramah! Bagus. Saya suka jawapan tu.
Bagi warning.
Yes. Thank you.
Motivasi.
Bagi motivasi. Terima kasih.
Terus motivasi hidup ke?
Buang nama dia.
Kejam sangat buang nama ni.
Kita fikirkan dia.
Okay, yang tu.
Result bagi
Group.
tahu orang in charge.
Okay, so banyak-banyak tu. Yang paling saya suka, the first thing that you need to do is to give advice. Kalau dah 2-3 kali bagi advice tak makan saman juga, okay, and the next action bagilah motivasi. Mungkin dia ada masalah yang kita tak tahu, so bagi motivasi. Dah bagi motivasi, dah bagi solution pun tak jalan juga. Boleh report pada the higher management lah. Kalau you guys nak buat assignment kan, boleh report kat saya dulu. So that I take action, saya contact dia, tanya ada masalah apa. Rupanya masalah susah bangun tidur sebab main game banyak sangat. Saya bagi nasihat dulu. Lepas bagi nasihat tak jalan juga, main game juga, bangun lambat, tak datang juga assignment. Lepas tu baru kita buang nama dia. Ya. Biar dia buat seorang-seorang assignment tu. So kalau markah dia nanti, markah seorang-seorang lah. Kita tak adalah sampai nak buang nama daripada kelas kita. Yeah. Okay. So thank you for your feedback. Thank you guys. Okay. Next, after you implement the action needed, review whether it is effective or not. Okay, just now we are talking about the review of the effectiveness. Dah bagi nasihat, efektif ke tak? Tak. Kita pergi ke next corrective action. Bagi motivasi. Efektif ke tak? Tak, efektif juga. Report kat doktor. Efektif ke tak? Okay, so review the effectiveness. Okay, make changes to the quality management system if needed. Okay, we make the changes to the quality management system if we need to do the corrective action. Okay. 10.3, continual improvement. Okay, what does it mean by continual improvement? Look at the suitability, adequacy and effectiveness of the quality management. Okay, sometimes we can do the continual improvement. Sometimes we need to change, totally change, then we have to start from zero, PDCA, plan, do, check and act. Okay, if still suitable, adequate and effective towards quality management system, just do the continual improvement. What are the outputs of analysis and evaluation that you do? You do the performance evaluation. You analyze the performance evaluation results. What are the outputs? Whether you can continue to improve or stop doing something new. Okay, and what are the outputs of management review? Looking back at the minute of meeting from management review meeting, what are the outputs? Whether you have the continual improvement for the requirements or not. If yes, do the continual improvement. If not, then you need to identify the new methods. Okay, is there any areas of underperformance or opportunities? So you need to come up with the tools and methodologies for root cause investigation. Okay, yang ni akan balik semula kepada PDCA. So that's all for chapter 4. Okay, any question for class 10?